Well, g'day footy fans and welcome to Goodwood Oval for round 9. Yes, the halfway point of the Adelaide Footy League Division 1 season. Today, it's two of the most successful clubs in Adelaide Footy League history. They're meeting for the first time in a decade. Between them, they've won 15 Division 1 flags. They've played in 24 grand finals over the last 45 years. But in 2023, it looks like there's just one final spot available. So winning's about being in the race for that and staying in the top flight. Today's match of the round is brought to you by our fantastic live stream sponsors, the Banner Crew, 9 News, Buddy Bet, Sportal, Roller Dice Racing, Archie Sandals, Programs to Fit, Dartfish, Sports Interactive and the Mosley Bar and Kitchen. Coming up, it's a rivalry renewed as the Saints of Goodwood host the Tigers of Broadview. Thanks to Filming Footy, this is the Adelaide Footy League. Windy, maybe rainy conditions here at the Goodwood Oval this afternoon. My name's Phil Hurden. My normal co-partner Tommy Javor, he's on assignment. So here at Filming Footy, it's next man up, and that man is Jack Moore. Jack, welcome to the broadcast.
Good afternoon, Phil. It's a pleasure to be joining you with a bit of a windy day, but it should be a fantastic day for footy, and these two teams, this contest promises to be an enticing one, that's for sure.
Well, these two clubs have a great history through the 90s to 2000s. Haven't met for quite some time. In reality, four teams look to be finals bound. They're really battling for one final spot.
It's a battle for that fifth spot indeed. As you said, Glenunga, Sacred Heart, Prince Alfred and Port District look pretty good for that final spot, 1 through 4, and these teams, are battling in that middle part of the table and sitting 6th and 8th as we come into this contest. The winner here will take a giant stride towards that 5th spot.
And conditions today, look, the Oval, to be honest, is in better nick than I thought it might be. Any thought who it might suit today?
It's Goodwood's home grounds. They would have trained on this during the week, of course. They would have worked out those leading lanes and perhaps the best spots to be in to gain possession and take full contest. And the wings and the 25 to 30 out from goal at both ends look to be a pretty good spot. So I think watching the reserves match here, a lot of the players haven't lost much grip. So it should be one where the quickest team to adjust, and the home team, I think it will suit. And of course, both these teams coming off a win last week, the confidence will be high.
The halfway point of the season will be at the end of this game. A fascinating encounter awaits. We'll give it to you after the break.
Nine News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome to the wonderful Goodwood Oval Media Centre. Thanks to Sporter, we're here for the game of the day. And it's going to be a fascinating clash, as mentioned earlier. Broadview and the Goodwood Saints just finished the reserves game. I'm looking at our Sporter scoreboard. It says Goodwood were 9-12, Broadview 7-3, a 21-point win to the Saints. Jack Moore joins me this afternoon. Jack, we are, well, we're all set. It can rain, it can hail, it can snow. We're indoors. We're all set for a big afternoon.
Good afternoon, Phil, and good afternoon to everyone watching out there, whether you're watching locally or internationally. It promises a lot, this match, and if the reserves are anything to go by, the conditions have held off just for the time being, and it's a pleasure being next to your fine self. And these two teams, of course, coming off wins last week and hunting that 5th spot. It should be a contest to remember and very well deserving of our match of the round.
Goodwood Saints are out. I just thought for one very scary moment that Broadview were wearing the home jumpers. But thankfully, no.
That would be an issue.
That would be an issue because there they are right now. And well, that's the reserves team. And they're not. So let's have a look at the ladder just to give you a context of why this game is important. And you can see Goodwood Saints sit in 8th spot. Both teams out of the 5. But if you look let's start with Broadview. They're out of the 5. By percentage. Teacher Gully get Prince Alfred today. Good luck. Broadview a team below them. The Tigers would be hoping tonight at the halfway point of the season they'll have a winning record. They're in the fight.
Correct. As you mentioned as well, those top 5 teams going against each other, it's happened a bit over the past couple of weeks, and one team's got to win, one team's got to lose. I was having a chat to both coaches, Broadview and Goodwood, prior to this match, and for Broadview, the real focus is this is a real 4-pointer. They can really jump to within 2 points of a Glenunga or a Shock, who of course play off. Conversely, if they lose and Goodwood win, they're only 2 points off the 5. So it is a real 4-point battle. The conditions look fine, but these two sides have been up and down this year. Both have had good wins against great teams, and both have had some interesting matches against teams who we probably don't think are in that top echelon.
Well, let's have a look at Goodwood and what their season has looked like so far. At the start of the season, a 4-point win against Sacred Heart coming up to Div 2. We thought that was pretty normal. Now that's their best effort of the season. 5 in a row. Old Ignatians. Well, who hasn't beaten Old Ignatians? But a couple of nail-biters. Brighton at home, Port District last week. They could be better than what their record suggests.
100%. If you look at those margins, bar the Prince Alfred loss and the Tea Tree Gully loss, which have been, I guess, that would have been a surprise going into that match. They would have been favourites based on last season. They have had those interesting matches where the St. Peter's loss will come back to bite them. I think if they don't make the finals, they would have been favoured in that match. As you mentioned, Old Ignatians are unfortunately a team which have proven easy to beat, but of course only at the halfway mark. Anything can change. And last week's match in the wet, Port District, looking for that top 3 spot. Strong team in this second half of the first half, as you could say, and a 6-point loss. Even though it's a loss, they'd back themselves to beat a team like Broadview at home based on that performance. Yeah.
If nothing else, it indicates that on their day, Goodwood Saints can be particularly competitive. Let's have a look at their lineup. There has been one late change, Jack, and Tommy Anderson not taking part this afternoon.
Indeed, Anderson out of the match, and Lachlan Matthias comes in. He'll be in the 36th this afternoon for Goody Saints. Other than that, it's a pretty strong lineup with lots of players in there who have lots of Division 1 experience, of course.
So that Anderson change is one. There's three others. Will Clark, James Ridgewell and Charlie MacArthur out of the side that lost narrowly to Port District last week. Jack Luders comes in, his first league game this season. Mason Ellis, veterans back. Ollie Johnson, veteran back. I think, look, Tom Anderson being out almost neutralises it. I thought for a moment there the three ins were better than the three outs. Now, I'm not so sure. Your thoughts on Goodwood? I guess one or two players really to keep an eye on.
As you mentioned, plenty of experience in this lineup. You've got players like Fairley, who've had experience at South Adelaide and West Adelaide in the Sandful, and you've got a player like Gray, who has been a bit of a journeyman all around. He's played in Tassie. He's also played in the Barossa League as well. And you've got other players who have been, club stalwarts like, a Nick Favretto, for example. He also has experience in the Sunraysia League, as does Oliver Johnson as well, who has been around. And Matthias, who is in, he's played footy at CBC and as recently as Paynham. And of course, Jay Cleland, a veteran. He had a season with the Bushrangers in the TAC Cup going back into 2013. Wangaratta, Werribee and West Adelaide. So plenty of names to keep an eye on.
Nick Favretto is the one for mine. As you see, Broadview, yep, they are wearing the clash strip, and a very bright yellow it is. Well suited to these conditions. Let's have a look at what the Tigers have done this season. Their first one in Division 1 since I think 2014 was their last time here. Round 1, they announced they're here. Beat the Premiers by 3. Couple of thumpings by what we now know are really good teams, Sacred Heart and Prince Alfred. Big win at Brighton. They're just maybe getting their act together, but okay, they've won 2 in a row against the two bottom sides.
You look at that on paper, they've beaten pretty much who they are supposed to beat, I guess you could say. And they've lost to kind of who they're supposed to lose to, I guess, based on ladder position. So this match is a real test of where are they really at? Are they a contender for the finals, or are they just an also run who, coming up, their goal would have been probably to make the finals, but survival for a promoted team is often goal number one. And they've shown plenty to say that they're going to stay up, and a little bit more to say, well, we're a real challenger for that 5th spot.
We did the stream against Teacher Gully. I was away that day, but that was a game that went goal for goal. Teacher Gully just got the last couple. And in the end, they're the two teams fighting for 5th. So let's have a look at Broadview and their team. One player I'm really looking forward to. He didn't play last time. Number 7, Nick Little. Called him a lot at South Adelaide. If he's up against Favretto, that is the matchup of the game for mine.
That's a blockbuster, of course, Little being at South Adelaide between 2010 and 2019. A bit of VFL experience prior to that, going back to 08 and 09. And 26 possessions and 34 possessions in their last 2 matches against Iggy's and St. Peter's. So he's definitely coming into a patch of form.
And Sam Danielle's another one maybe to watch. He was their best on ground. Racked up a huge amount of touches last week.
38 last week, and you could say, well, it's only against Old Ignatians, but a game's a game. You've got to get those touches in the right spots, and 38 is nothing to be laughed at. So some players with some real form.
All right, not too far away. The ground conditions as we have a look out over the Goodwood Oval. Look, the centre area, plenty of mud. Expected that. Pretty much down the spine are your issues. More to the left of screen than the right. You might be taking the scenic route home or trying to kick above the mud towards the goal squares.
We see both captains in for the coin toss, and as you said, both ends of the ground look equally firm. The end to the left of screen, obviously, a bit more muddy. Umpire Rob Kane tosses that coin. Phil?
And it's won by Jacob Hyman, I think, was the captain for today. Of course, Holzbauer is not on the side at the moment. So Goodwood Saints kicking to the right of your screen. It is windy. The treetops are blowing back and forth. I'm just not sure which way it is going at this point. I guess we'll find out when they bounce the ball in anger.
The trees are definitely going either way, and they're going left, right, back and forth.
Yeah.
So you'd think with a bit of home ground experience that Heitman would know the conditions match day and would point the right direction.
Our umpires, umpires today, by the way, field umpire Robert Kane and Matt Harris. Boundary umpires Eli Courtney and Bradley Fallon. And the goal umpires Damien or Daniel Harrod and Ethan Scarman.
There's been one late change, Matt
Oh,
Harris.
we got a late change.
Matt Harris, one of my favourites, and if he's watching, he would know that. Greg Von Einem, the first-year field umpires coach, has now stepped in, so a wealth of experience in the umpire.
So he was expecting to sit in the stands nice and warm and
He's
observe, and now he's going to, well, I'm not going to observe, I'm going to show you how it's done.
Out in the middle and ready
So who's
to go.
observing him then?
Well, he's observing himself, isn't he?
That's it.
He might come off and just watch a highlights package
Well,
of
they'll have to
our
come back
forward
and-
every quarter.
They'll have to come back and watch our game. Maybe we can help observe.
Exactly.
It's
I might prepare a list of notes and observation topics for the umpires.
Do you want to thank our sponsors? The Banner Crew is our stream sponsor. Sportal, of course, great. We'll give them great coverage today. 9 news programs to fit. Dartfish Sports Interactive. Some great prizes, and Jack, you've got the job. It's a very important job of working out many of our prize winners today. Player of the game, thanks to New Balance $100 voucher and the iconic Dartfish beanie. I'll help you out with the play of the day. What's the highlight that really gets me excited? That's thanks to Neomoth mouth guards, secure custom fit protection and unbeatable comfort. And then one of my favourites, the Moseley Bar and Kitchen team player, or the Moseley Bar and Kitchen voucher. I reckon that's the most popular of the prizes amongst the players. We'll see what it's like.
I think the players like to frequent that establishment.
I was about to say, if the prize isn't the most popular, let me reword it. I reckon the player becomes the most popular. You win a prize for looking after your mates. Who are your mates when you've got a Moseley Bar and Kitchen voucher in front of you? We're not too far away from the start. Very quickly, Jack, going to ask you in one word your tips the other games today. Old Ignatians and Brighton Bombers.
Brighton Bombers.
Tea Tree Gully, Prince Alfred.
Ooh, Prince Alfred in a close one.
St. Peter's, Port District.
Port District to get back into form.
And the big one, Glenunga and Sacred Heart.
Glenunga at home.
Who have you got in this one?
I've got Goodwood at home, but it really could go either way.
All right, well, that's going to be our buddy bet for the day. You've got Goodwood, I've got Broadview. Let's see where it falls, but we are set to get underway. Thanks to Sportal, it's Goody Saints, Broadview Tigers, and your first caller is Jack Moore.
Umpire Rob Kane holds that ball aloft, and away we go on a windy afternoon here at Goody Oval on this filming footy stream. Thanks for joining us, wherever you may be watching this afternoon. Jack Moore alongside Phil Herdeners. It all comes to nothing, and the ruckman go at it again. Anyang gets a hand to it and palms it down. Little looking for it, just couldn't get his hand on the footy. He's tried a couple of times there, but they're all jumping in like it's a hot rock, and it comes out the back, and away they go. Quick kick out of the pack. Little gets his opportunity eventually, and a nice intercept mark taken by Looters, fresh back into the team this afternoon. Short kick, barely 15. Umpire says play on as Whitelock drives it deep into a presenting option, and the hands were strong, and a beautiful mark from one of my players to watch, Jade Cleland.
Well, Jade Cleland, if your big men can go up forward and take a grab, because I expect to see Cleland in the ruck a reasonable amount, and we'll get a pretty good idea of what this wind is doing with this kick. He's on a slightish angle. He's got a clean runway to his kick, and we'll see what the wind does with it off the boot.
Cleland, plenty of experience, 7 goals on the season. And adds an 8 to his tally, and Goodwood off to absolute flying start here at home. 1 goal, 6. Broadview yet to score. Sportal scoreboard, 2 minutes played.
Well, that was very dry weather football, played in a week where we've had a lot of rain. Oval seems to have held up particularly well, and good to see that those skills early have been able to be utilised. We'll see how long into the quarter the ball stays dry, stays clean out of the mud, and enables those sort of skills to be shown.
Really strong hands. You see on the near side here, Broadview with their wingers trying to play a bit of a separate game. We'll see Pridham for Goodwood, starting well away from Ben Manning, who's looking to play more a defensive wingman role in this opening stages. Little getting busy, running into a hard tackle. Fairly meets him nicely. And a free kick going the way of the Saints. It's taken deep inside forward 50 again, presenting on the lead. What a hot start. And a real nice mark. This guy, 2 goals in 2 minutes, on track for a big bag if this goes through.
At this rate, he's up for about 60 for the game. Don't think he'll keep to it. But this is exactly that. I mean, Goodwood, they're home, but they would be the underdogs today, even though Jack Moore has tipped them in our buddy bet. But this would be the exact start they wanted. If he can convert on a tougher angle.
It's a beautiful kick. The umpire bends the back. Might need to go see a chiropractor after that. The kick was so straight. And Cleland and Goody Saints off to a flyer. As I mentioned, as we talked about in the pre-game, a close loss last week against Port District, but would have given them plenty of confidence, even though the conditions were different, and they've carried that well into this first quarter.
One of the issues Goodwood have had is they really haven't kicked high scores. And 2 goals in 2 minutes is probably the fastest bag of goals they've had all season. You can see the Sportal scoreboard, mobile in action today. And even gives us the speed. They're even showing us.
Replay on the replay.
I just hope they don't put that camera on us on that during the course to scare people away.
Let's keep it on the main men, the ones spending their Saturdays trying to get a win for their team and their supporters. And Broadview, finally a clearance going the way of the Tigers. Comes the way of Whitelock, scoops it out. Nicely done. Handball on the wing, and they're playing a bit of a dangerous flirting game with the boundary, and the boundary wins.
Yeah, rule to be touched. For a second, might have come off the boot. You can see the interchanges occurring. Going to be with Jacob Ralotta, pretty much in front of the interchange bench. Nicely coned out. Don't go that way. He'll kick it inside 50. First inside 50 for Broadview. Would be a little bit shell-shocked. But well back is Angus Rana. Although free kick given away, a push. And it's going to be Anyang, who has an open player inside 50. This is
McKinnon
Collins. Yeah, look, it's interesting. They've got the white numbers on the black backgrounds, and I'm just on the yellow background more in particular. I'm just making sure I check twice because I haven't seen Broadview this season until now. That's an interesting kick with the breeze. That's carried a long way, and oh, gee, that's an interesting decision not to shepherd to attempt the mark, which scores Broadview's first score. It's 1 point. Goodwood 2 goals on the Sportal scoreboard.
McKinnon Collins leading the tackles for Goodwood this season with 24 for Broadview, I should say. As a kick comes into the outer side, and they look to use the corridor once again, but in the right spot at the right time, waiting down O'Leary, captain for Broadview this afternoon. Strong tackle coming in from Whitelock, half forward flank. And
I think it's fair to say today we're going to have 2 corridors running parallel to the centre square pretty much.
Might be a big day for the wingman, you think, Phil?
I just want to see a player kick it into the middle and everyone dive on it. That would be fun.
And Yang improvises. Pridham waiting back, gets a lot of it at half back, just racks up the touches usually and getting into contest. Monia changes boots there, Scara, because he's taken. But fortunate for him, the tackle was a little bit over the shoulder or perhaps in the back. And
gee, they're so frustrating for the coaches. They had Scara dead to rights. You almost had to touch him and claim him. You know, like, I'm tackling him.
Bring him back over to himself, perhaps. To drag the body weight we've seen in the AFL. It's such a hard task to tackle a play when they're at full flight.
Jack Luders getting a couple of touches early on his return first league game. Gets to Jack Carter. They've gone crisscross here, the Saints. They'll kick it down the tennis court wing, or what I think still is the Forestville Hockey Club, although they're trying to move to only high at the moment. That's another story. Umpires found the free. He thought, do I go to the cricket pitch? Maybe not, despite the best intentions of Charlie Pridham to claim it. Here's the worm burner. Cleveland comes out and charges. This time gets past him. Quick tackle by Hamish Ralph. Ball spills and will be knocked over the line. First behind for Goodwood. They're 2-1-13. Broadview are 1 behind. It's the Saints by 12. We've gone 6.5 minutes of what's been a free-flowing game of football, certainly compared with what I expected this afternoon.
A few hard tackles coming in. Match of the week here on Filming Footy. Thanks to Banner Crew, our stream team sponsor. Sportal, our scoreboard sponsor. Jack Moore alongside Phil Herden for the call here at Goodwood Oval. And the kick comes in. It's just cleared the 50 and roving the pack nicely was Cornish. Does well and gets it out. Broadview clear. There's that wingman I was talking about earlier. O'Leary in the right place at the right time, and they're on. They elect to go. Handball doesn't work out, but Day tries to butter up. Nice shepherd from the teammate. And Yang, beautiful below his knees coming in, but Goody have numbers and good representation. Tackled hard was Cornish, couldn't quite get there. Following up was Bennett's, and a lovely tackle coming in. But as you were saying, for the ball, end-to-end footy.
I love just waiting for the player to get up so I can pick him up. The desperation of Nick Ferguson to dive on that ball and make sure Goodwood did not have an easy defensive clearance. Is it still a hot footy? It spills. Who's going to be a shot on goal? Could be the first one, but it's a right of the left. That is Alex Day. Just the one in for Broadview. Alex Day comes in for Jack Hodby this afternoon from the team that defeated Old Ignatians by 29 points last week.
Early lead Goody here, 11 points. Sportal scoreboard. Match of the week is the kick comes in from full back. Runs his full distance and strong contested mark. Few of those early. The guys had a brilliant start to this match, coming up to meet it at half back with a mark, and all of a sudden the ball's at half forward. And here it goes inside forward 50. Real chance below his knees as if he got down Dykesman, but the only guy there was a Broadview number. He's won a brilliant free kick. McKinnon Collins getting down and dirty.
You're going to have hopefully every player doing that today. That kick flirts with the boundary line, just touched. One thing I've noticed, Jack, I've just had a look at the radar forecast. I think we're in a really good spot because if there will be rain here this afternoon. Right now, there's just a little bit to the north. If we were at Wayville rather than Goodwood, you'd be getting wet.
And it just highlights the fact that strong starts on these days where rain's expected, get a few goals on the board.
Yeah.
Free kick in the ruck contest is Matthias. He's had experience at CBC and most recently Paynham until this year. He's elected to join the Goody Saints. So a welcome recruit. This would be a much welcome goal as that rain closes in. Could be a 3-0 start as we just tick towards 10 minutes. Matthias approaches nicely, takes a couple of steps, and we walked that way, and the ball went that way, and unsurprisingly through for a minor score. So Sportal scoreboard, 2-14. Broadview yet to put a ball through the big sticks. They're 2 behinds.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small oval here at Goodwood. The 50-metre arc, if it is actually 50, almost touches the centre square. They're going right down the guts, looking for Day. But Goodwood runs some interference. It is picked up by another. We got a Day and a Gray. It's going to be a fun afternoon. Right now, Goodwood Saints pick it up. This is Connor Fairley. His kick is smothered, and it's going to end up with Ben Manning. He's on defensive 50. Chance to assess some options. Again, he wants to flirt with the boundary line, and well recovered by. I don't have a number for. That's an interesting one. Maybe it was Jack. No, I don't have a number for. Well, he dropped it. He recovered. He got it back. But it's Goodwood Saints with Gray. They go back inside 50.
Strong tackling and well rewarded in the early stages. The fumbles have been there, hands to the footy, but unable to take the mark. Got to be strong below your knees in a day like this as the weather closes in. Umpire Rob Kane crosses his chest, comes in, and bottom of that pack jumping up. Strong tackle from Jackson Wilson. And nicely done by Favoretto, the Italian stallion, getting in there, leading this Goodwood midfield, along with a few others, including Fairley, of course, in the mix. Broadview, clearance towards the near side, chasing after it. Yellow boots, you've got to be good if you put those on. Helix Day, not quite on that occasion, and coming in nicely to clean the scraps up with Bennett. Day chasing Lynch towards the line, and boundary umpire has some work to do. And
Day getting a bit of a pat on the back for some of his teammates for his effort there. And yeah, look, actually, I like it. It's all colour coordinated. He's got the gold top with the black sash, the white shorts. He's got the hooped socks and the gold boots. Yeah, it's a good colour coordination for today. For Broadview, who are working it around the back of the pack, they find an open player in Jack Fergus. He kicks it inside 50, 40 out. Big pack of players just trying to avoid the mud pit at the moment. Callum Ferguson goes in hard, gets the footy wrapped up straight away. Will be a ball up about 45 metres out. Almost 12 minutes gone. Goodwood have kicked 2 goals in 2 minutes. We've been scoreless, well, we've been goalless since, or just behind. But here's a chance for the Saints to go forward.
Dykesman, skipper today, leading them towards forward 50. Another charge forward. Really strong mark coming out to meet it. And in a blink of an eye, it's gone towards forward 50, and the ball wins the race. A third goal for Goody on the afternoon. Really strong from Favoretto. Looked up, saw that nobody was within 20 metres of goal, knows the conditions, knows the grounds, knows the ball would run through, and it did everything he predicted.
And he caps it off by running straight to the interchange bench. And I guess what you saw from that is you see Favoretto, he kicked that from the middle of Goodwood Oval. Now, am I going to say he's Malcolm Blight-esque longest kick of the year. I'm not sure the distance from the middle of Goodwood over to the goals. It probably just illustrates our point. It's a small oval.
It is. Summarised the conditions beautifully, though, didn't he? He just looked up and summed it all up. And on a wet day, which this might become, an 18-point lead early on the Sportal scoreboard, might be one that Broadview find hard to chase down. What a start from the Saints. They'd be up and about. Coach Donaldson would be pretty pleased, but early stages, and this game is far from settled. Nicely done. Picked it up like a basketballer on the near wing and chases after his kick. His teammate gets to it to put the hand out. A lovely effort from Bennett's off half back with a jumper tucked in little situation going on there.
Right there you can see that's the Goodwood barbecue, by the way, and I'm going to upset other clubs, but they make the best chicken barbecue rolls with coleslaw. If you haven't tried it, Jack, you've missed out on life.
Making me
Do
hungry
yourself a favour.
halfway through the first quarter.
So okay. I got scary news, Jack. Our commentator is coming through the mobile phone via the Sportal app.
Reaching a new audience today.
I was about to say, is there a viewer discretionary advised? But viewer discretion advised. We have to watch our language maybe. As Goodwood try and surge forward now, Broadview, they're getting inside 50 enough times, Jack, but every time so far, Goodwood have found a way to repel or restrict the scoring to a point, and they're transitioning well. They've got a target in Cleveland. At the moment, it's looking good for Goodwood, and the umpires found it. I thought he was about to give a free kick there. In the end, he said play on. It's Little at one edge of the centre square. Chris crosses it and finds a target. Now, here's the important inside 50 kick that's going to belong to Lachlan McKenzie. He's trying to inboard it. In the end, stays away from the mud pretty much, and gee, Goodwood, it's almost like they knew that was coming.
A three back there and read that to absolute perfection. Bit of a welcome invitation as that ball was coming into forward 50. That kick from Little barely minutes ago, really great to pull the zone across, and it got an uncontested mark. But Broadview, it's bouncing out of there like a trampoline.
Broadview have two loose in defence. I assume Goodwood have the same at the moment.
Half back. There's the man we've been talking about. Jumper tucked in, black boots. Straight out of the 1900s, but doing a great job to start with, and Goodwin has it. Sturt under 18 player in 2020, so a bit of experience. Moves it in on the 45, and they're using the corridor nicely. Here's Johnson. Played in the Sunraysia League for Redcliffs in 2019.
Good league up there, by the way, the Sunraysia League. Imperials and Mildura, Redcliffe and Wentworth. It's actually has the teams both New South Wales and Victoria. That's a long kick inside 50. This time Broadview already. Jack Fergus takes another mark. He decides, I'm going to head for the cricket pitch, and it just falls short fortuitously. Samuel Rhodes has it. So it's almost like you get the ball and you've got to work out a road map more than you normally do of how to find your open players. This is Darcy Modra, wearing a new number this week, number 11. He's kicked down the wind. Goodwood had the players, and that's Angus Rano, and he's going to be someone that Broadview are going to have to work out how to get around, because he's taken a couple of great defensive marks.
Yeah, he's all arms and legs runner, isn't he? He's just stumbles around out there, but gets himself in the right spot at the right time, as Johnson has it in a position he was in barely minutes ago as we tick towards...
Should handball to Favretto for a shot.
17 gone. Favretto's distance is that 80 to 100 we've seen already today, with a long bomb out of the middle of the ground and summing up the conditions. A bit of goose step. 30 dancing. Puts the dance shoes on. Heads towards goal!
Connor Fairley has just got an early nomination for the Nearmouth Mouth Guards Play of the Day.
That will take some beating. Fairley, goodness me. 28 last week against Port District, but if you only have one possession today, just sold a bit of candy, ducked inside, Phil Hurden. That is a goal to remember.
Yeah, look, the fake was sublime. I can't believe he bounced it on a day like today. And, of course, if you're going to do that kind of, not Leroy, you're going to do that sort of fancy stuff, you better get the fundamentals right and kick the goal. And he delivered. And now it's 4-0. And this is turning out to be a not quite match-winning first quarter, but we're starting to head towards that territory if it continues at the 17-minute mark.
Fairly having that experience, being at South Adelaide from 2016 to 19, and also West Adelaide from the same year to last season. Pridham.
I should add, that was Fairley's first goal this season. He must be about the quality, if not the quantity.
That goal could be worth a few if the rain starts to pour down. Sportal scoreboard, a 24-point lead. Goodwood threatening once again as Broadview have numbers back there, and even with the two spares at the back and inside defensive 50, they just can't stop the control of the footy across half back, and that incisive kick to about 60 out is just catching Broadview napping.
It's a small oval, you move it quick. I mean, you think big ovals, lots of space, but it's the ability to get from one end to the other quickly that can make a big difference. Transitional play, they'd say in basketball terms, as Broadview concede the behind. And yeah, well, look, we're a long way from quarter time yet. It's 4-3-27 to 2 behinds on the Sportal scoreboard.
Quarter time can't come quick enough for the Tigers right now, Phil.
Because what we don't know is there actually a 5-goal gale heading towards the right of your screens? There probably would need to be for Broadview's sake at the moment.
Trees are moving in that direction, so possibly to assume, and umpire Kane gets to work.
And Goodwood did win the toss and kick that way.
They know something we don't.
As we're sitting up here in our nice, enclosed, heated Goodwood Oval Media Centre. A lot of Sandford clubs would love to have this as a broadcasting spot. Round the body snap, that was Connor Fairley.
He's getting hot.
He's getting into it. One behind on this occasion. Takes a 25-point lead. Makes it 26 as we're 40 seconds from time on here at the Goodwood Oval. Quarter time, I'll get some around the ground scores for you. It's a big day, round 9. The halfway point of Division 1, and all the others for that matter, in the Adelaide Footy League.
Broadview have been a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team this season, and it's been the wrong side of that. It's just come out to play in this first quarter as we tick towards 20 on the Sportal scoreboard, and the hole they find themselves in, 26 points. Not quite over yet, and the gust of wind blowing towards the right of screen. Anyang does well, big body in the ruck. Pridham waiting at the back. Short kick, bites it off, nicely done. This is Heitman, who has the skipper's armband on today. Pounds it inside 50. Broadview have numbers. It almost didn't matter, it might not. They're tripping over themselves back there. Broadview have the welcome mat in. They're rolling the red carpet out. Goodness gracious.
I don't know who provides the beef or the chicken for the Goodwood barbecue. I don't know if they need to because Goodwood really butchered that one.
That is beautiful. That kick, not so much.
Well, I mean, okay, it went out of bounds. I get that. It's going to be a kick. But that travelled a long way. So in terms of this breeze, might be a favour on the right, but you can still go a fair way to the left.
We'll know at half-time as Broadview kick towards the right of screen in that second quarter. Match of the week, filming footy.
Kick towards the top of the square. Nice hot spot. Plenty of players lurking. No one can get clearance. 21 minutes gone. Was just looking at Goodwood Saints. They have 28 points on the 29 on the board. They had 35 all game against Port District. 20 all game against Prince Alfred, and a lot of scores in the high 40s, 50s. Been one of their best scoring quarters of the season. Broadview are just surging it forward, soccering here, pushing there, and all of a sudden it's at their attacking edge of centre square. They get a clearance, they might get a shot on goal, but they won't because it's picked up by Pridham. He's tackled holding the ball. Here's Broadview's chance. Nick Ferguson decides to wind up. Kick to the square. Breeze can take it, but oh no. The defensive marking on this occasion, Jack Carter of Goodwood, has been very impressive.
The numbers back there favouring the Saints, and the kick just went to his disadvantage. And how easy they're running out at a half back. That kick, speculative, but getting there on his knees. Favoretto cleaning up across half back with a 27-point lead with a few minutes left. They'd be wise just to shut things down as the rain is on the way. But the kick is biting off. They want more. And it didn't work. Manning kicks it into the middle. And this is Little, who needs to lift. Former South Adelaide champion as Broadview go forward. Really need a goal to take into the quarter-time huddle. Beautiful contest. At least that time was a one-on-one off the ground, if you don't mind. Across the face of goal. They're just trying to push it forward, but nothing's working.
Nothing's working. That's probably been their best opportunity in the last 10 minutes. Had a couple early on, including that long kick, I think, from Jack Fergus that was touched on the line by a teammate. Left alone, it probably would have been that first goal. That looks like a push in the back from here. And what have we got? No, rolled him over. Okay.
See, who's that there? The 23 for Broadview had a bit of a number change. He's got half his body covered in mud and the other half pretty clean. So there he's diving over the footy as well. And getting up for it, though. Didn't quite get a handball there, I didn't think. But one thing that's been tough and strong from both teams, the tackling efforts early.
Well, you expect that. In fact, to be honest, that there's been good tackles, but it hasn't been a game where we're going to have 100 tackles each, which is sort of what I was expecting. Well, that's it so far. And, yeah, I've seen plenty of high-scoring first quarters. Then the coaches get their say, and then it really tightens up. No one hates a high-scoring first quarter more than the coaches.
Luke Donaldson, speaking of coaches, he'd be smiling right now, knowing there's still 3 quarters left, but 9 scoring shots to 2. Goody by 27.
Well, if he's like most coaches I know, he'd be upset about the 2.
Oh, taken out there.
You let them score?
Getting down over it is Little, who picks it up, and interesting kick inside forward 50 from Darcy Modra went to about 40 out. Probably the benefit would be going long to a one-on-one as Goodwood have a number back there, but there is always a one-on-one contest.
Yeah, look, it's a 2-on-1 contest. Well, it's 3-on-2 in the top of the goal square at the moment. We've seen Broadview go there, and Rana's had a field day. Rain is starting to get heavier. If you're not in the grandstand here, this magnificent facility, the brollies are up, or you're getting wet. Take your pick. And yeah, this last minute or so was the game I was sort of expecting today. Just been milling around this half forward for about the last minute. So I'll have one more crack at it. Kick going forward towards that square where Goodwood have the numbers, but Broadview might have the heart here. They're battling pretty hard for the ball. Pick up and snap by Jay O'Leary as opposed to Cooper. Jay wears 33, Cooper wears 3. Hard to memorise that way. But Jay Leary with the snap, he's actually scored the 3rd behind for Broadview. It's now a 26-point game. And you can see on your screen that rain's getting heavier, and there's a Goodwood player who's going to come off in not too good a shape. Yeah, Jade Cornish. And congrats to Goodwood. I just thank the Goodwood Saints for a lot of things, but also having numbers on the front. Nice initiative.
I like that,
Thank
isn't
you.
it? Something for us.
Yes.
A bit of a benefit for the commentators. Goodness gracious. And well, at least the yellow on the black background on the back of the jersey
stands
too
out
is
beautifully.
ideal.
So not good news, because of course it is 21, so 3 on the bench. Might be 2 if that's something in the shoulder, I think.
And you know, Phil, that when you can see rain on the screen, that it's coming down pretty hard in real life. So, as I say in athletics, and still gift reference, Goody, well, they both started off the same mark, but it seems like Broadview have kind of been left behind, a bit of a handicap.
It's been in racing parlance, be it athletics or animals, it's been an explosive start out of the blocks by the Goodwood Saints. I think I just saw the Butchers advertised on the scoreboard.
Getting a bit
They
hungry.
do have one. I am getting hungry, actually.
It is Sponsors Day, of course. I was having a chat with Luke Donaldson. He said, can you just squeeze it into the broadcast?
Oh, yeah, well, there you go.
I'll try my best.
Well, our producer's squeezing in the Atkins Buildings group there. Of course, look, any sponsor of any club is worthy of mention and recognition when we can, because they help keep this league running, all 60-plus clubs and hundreds of games a week. And without that support, it's a lot harder to pull off.
Our sponsors, of course, include 9 News, Programs to Fit, Sports Interactive, the Mosley Bar and Kitchen, of course. The best team player of the day will pick up a voucher after the conclusion. Pridham, he's running out, got the boots on, and he's a bit of fire in the kick, and it just beats the pack and running towards it. Kept the hands free. Beautiful handball coming out from Burgess. Fairley again had a goal of the day barely about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Couldn't add a second on this occasion.
He's got very good poise when the ball's in his hand. That's twice that, in theory, there's an opponent somewhere, and he's been able to create the space to get off the shot. In that case, slightly off angle, but didn't miss by a lot. 27 pointer. You'd think with just the 4 goals scored that quarter time is imminent.
There'd be a real worry amongst the Broadview coaching staff how easy Goodwood have transitioned the footy, even with the rain coming down. Short kick and a free kick coming back the way of Broadview and playing on quickly. Manning, no, he's going back to the man who has the free kick, I should say. And taking it inside the middle of the ground. It's a adventurous option, chasing after it and right on his hammer. Burgess meets him down there. Ball comes out. If he kept it in, it would have been a free kick for diving on it. Johnson.
They're on here.
Nice handball. Entering forward 50 again. The transition game has been absolutely beautiful. And the man who's got 2 already, Jade Cleland, 7 goals on the season. Make that 9 with 2 early in the first quarter. He's on for a big bag and lining up for his 3rd.
Look, I understand the idea of kicking it into space, let your players run onto it, but you involve Nick Burgess in a foot race. You mentioned the stall gift. He ain't going to lose too many of those. He created the turnover. As the quarter time siren goes, a big kick to seal the deal on a big quarter.
Jade comes in to put an exclamation mark on it. Couldn't add to his 2-goal tally. But the scoring shots and the run of play, the rain has come down, but it looks like a dry weather match for Goody. And 4-7-31, 3 behind, a lead of 28 here at quarter time.
That's the Sportal scoreboard. The goal scorers for Goodwood, Jake Cleland, Nick Favretto and Connor Fairley. Goal scorers for Broadview, that's them. We'll take a break. Back with the second quarter with Jack Moore and Phil Herden. This is the Adelaide Footy League. Thanks to Filming Footy.
News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back. That's the Goodwood Saints huddle. They would be a happy bunch of campers at the moment, Jack Moore, because I reckon that's about as dominating first quarters you're going to have in these conditions.
As we came into this match, of course, being a 4-pointer, and we looked at the ladder with Footy Saints. 2 wins off of Broadview, and if that first quarter's anything to go by, this Broadview team has a real strong midfield group. And they'd be really lacking. Nick Little, expect a big lift from him. O'Leary, the captain, as well, as we see inside the Broadview huddle here. It's a calm and composed, but also a stern talking to of the troops, I should say, as I stumble across the words there. But
yeah, I'm interested to know where does Broadview start? Are they more concerned with the fact they've conceded 4 goals, or probably conceded like the 11 scoring shots in that first quarter, or are they more concerned about the fact that they don't have a goal on the board yet?
They had enough.
Say more B than A.
They had enough opportunities going inside 50, but the one area they need to definitely tighten up is that trampoline bounce out of D50. It's or their attacking 50. It's been Goodwood who have just moved it whenever they've wanted to. Even as the rain came down, they were able to transition this ground. Yes, it's their home ground, but the pressure on rebound and on turnover has been non-existent in that first quarter. And one thing that you can't coach and you assume is going to be there all day, every day is effort. And I think Broadview in certain areas were definitely lacking that effort in that opening term. You've got some scores from around the ground, Phil.
I have. Of course, all the Division 1 games are live streamed, so just check out all our live streams. Thanks to Filming Footy. Let's start at Karen Rolton Oval. Old Ignatians looking for their first on-field win. Of course, they got one courtesy of St. Peter's admin error. They're 20. Brighton are 22. The Bombers leading by just 2 points. So good to see Old Iggies starting strong. Not starting so strong, Teacher Gully. They have 1 point. Prince Alfred have 21. So the Redmond by 20. St. Peter's and Port District, I've got this around the wrong way. St. Peter's are 7, Port District are 37, Port District by 30. So they even scored more than Goodwood did. And in the big battle, not too far from here actually, Glenunga and Sacred Heart. It's Sacred Heart leading by 5 points, 20 to 15. And the other important update is the weather radar. And I think we've got a bit of a reprieve for a little while, but there's a big front coming our way.
We'll really see this quarter if Broadview can take advantage of what must have been a bit of wind in that opening term as Goodwood kicked to the right of screen after winning the coin toss and coming straight out. That's proved to be a furphy, but Heitman has kicked it pretty strong. He stayed down there, so just check he's all right. Up he gets, and a turnover kick as that last possession rule comes in and Broadview move it. I noticed in my research for this game, Phil, that both these teams have only kicked more than 10 goals 2 times this season, once for both against Old Ignatians. So 4-goal first quarter for the Saints. If they can replicate that and be a high-scoring team, would be a fillet.
I think if you're trying to find some statistical trends, you almost have to take out the Old Ignatians games to much of an extent. But Broadview didn't. 29 points, I think, was the closest Old Ignatians have got to anyone against Broadview. But then you got to throw in the conditions last week, where it rained from go to woe pretty heavily in a lot of spots. Back to this contest and at Broadview, well, this could be their big chance. Did they have the wind at their back? Lachlan McKenzie has it. He'll be kicking. I reckon he'll just be outside 50. The run-up pretty short, and that's not probably how you go about it because the player in Bennett... Oh, hang on, he's stopped it off the ground.
Goodness, where did that come from?
I thought it was going to be rushed through. It wasn't. And...
Might be Jackson.
Let's have a look at this replay. For a start, too close to the man on the mark.
I thought it was touched off the boot, I must say.
As it came in, yep.
Just fall short and
just fall
out
short
of
now
nothing.
The back of the pack. Okay. You call the play. I'll keep an eye on this player because we've got to find out who he is because he deserves a mention.
Really strong. Getting stuck into it half forward by the goody opposition player in Serene playing on him. But that's just the start that Broadview would have wanted and ordered in this second quarter. On the board for the afternoon, Nerve Settler. And the coach and the players getting amongst it now. Taking without an umpire, says play on. All fair in love and war on the outer side. And getting stuck in Little. He started this quarter nicely. Handball off target. Finds its way to Matthias. Late in this afternoon. Favoretto forward of the ball. Coming out to meet it, Rana. Smart punch, but it goes straight to his teammate in Scarra. He's taken straight away. And they're getting down and dirty and literally dirty in that mud pit.
That's what I was waiting for.
McKinnon Collins finds himself with a mouthful of mud. Delicious.
And don't the crowd get up and about and love that?
Really enjoying themselves. Really. That's not a still shot. If anyone's wondering, it is live.
Oh, it's good they are breathing. That's good.
At least the umbrella's up, and I saw a twitch of one of the arms. So, Pridham getting in there. He's usually roaming across halfback, so you know it's a contested match when you get your halfback flanker getting in there.
Yeah, and I reckon it was Dominic Ratico who kicked that goal out of nowhere for Goodwood. At least, well, no one's going to correct us here for a while anyway. Liam Bennett's with the thump behind. There's the grandstand here, and everybody there nicely undercover. Magnificent new facility here at the Goodwood Oval. Remember when they were demolishing the old stand and building the new? It is quite the all-in-one community club now.
It might be, I'm just having a look there, Cooper O'Leary, who's in the midfield pack here of that last goal. And here he is on
that might have been him.
On cue, I should say.
Okay, yeah.
that last goal
No,
for
I reckon you're
Broadview.
right. I'll stand corrected on that.
It is tricky, though. The white and the yellow kind of blend into
no,
one.
it's just... I was going off
tricky to get.
hairstyles, and that's never a good way of finding a player.
Here is O'Leary coming out of it now, pushing into the midfield, has the confidence up. It's going to come right back his way. Serene tracking it, didn't want to commit, otherwise he would have been tackled straight away for holding the ball. And speaking of tackling, getting in, Pridham clears, out of side, nice option, but just out of the grasp. And made sure he touched it, so it'll be a boundary throw in. Couple of hands in the back.
That should... I don't know.
Umpire
I'm
Von
not happy
Einem lets
about
them
that.
play.
I mean, look, it's just a push. I get that. But is that something that's going to cause an injury on a day like today? Most likely. I'm not sure where you'd find it in the rule book, Jack, but...
If we were playing at the parade last night, he could have done serious damage too.
Yeah,
so you
that's
just
right.
you just never know. Those little things can build, and they might lead to bigger things. And from an umpiring perspective, you pay the first free kick, and it definitely stops anything from developing.
Correct, because players, whoever was pushed there would not have appreciated, and they'll probably wait for their moment to respond. Right now it's with Goodwood Saints. They have a 22-point lead. Haven't scored a goal this quarter. That's just one, and that's to the Tigers of Broadview. Kick around by Scar into the pocket by the 50-metre arc, where it's deemed to have been a fumble, not a disposal. There's sometimes a bit of a grey area there when it comes off the boot. That was very quickly signalled by the boundary umpire, which is interesting because they get those calls, which is, I guess if you think about it, fairly appropriate. The throw in will land right on the 50-metre arc. Ground starting to get chewed up a little bit. Again, back towards that boundary line. If it goes out, that's going to be carried out. Rinse and repeat pretty much. 5 minutes gone, 22 minutes. The rain, well, the brollies are still up, so there must be something around the place.
Boundary umpire Bradley Fallon doing his best work on, thanks to Sportal, of course. We're here. That Sportal scoreboard, a 4-goal 7-31, 1-goal 3-9, a 22-point lead.
Favretto, it spills out to Scara, but no, it's marked by Jack Fergus. I keep wanting to say Fergus Watts for some reason. It's just old habits die hard.
Confused him with Fergus Green earlier this season a few times, the new Hawthorn recruit.
It
too, so.
probably comes back to where our background is. Mine was Fergus Watts kicking 10 goals for the Eagles in a final back probably decades ago now. Kick inside the centre square. Goodwood trying to get the turnover. Good pick up from Charlie Pridham. He's been busy. Still a hot footy to get on the outer wing. Tackle to the earth. That was a decent tackle. Ball spills free to Goodwood. It's kind of that ricochet situation at the moment. Heitman with the tap on. It's going to put some pressure on the Broadview defenders. There's Nicholas Burgess coming from the clouds. Deserved a free, and he's going to get it too.
Jaws of life absolutely clamped on him. Bit of an implosion inside forward 50.
I'll tell you, if it wasn't for Connor Fairley's goal, that would be the second best play of the day from a Goodwood Saints perspective. I think Fairley goal's still in front, but that's twice that Burgess has descended on a player and caused a big turnover. Can he convert now? Distance shouldn't be a problem. Accuracy sure isn't. Burgess has his first, and that's actually his first for the season. He was in the best players last week. He's kicked fourth game in the league, kicked 3 goals in 2 games in the Rezzies. One of 6 Goodwood Saints players out here today that's got between the A and Bs through this season. Oh, good goal.
Great tackle as well.
I think that's good for Goodwood.
Good for Goodwood.
Unless
the
scoreboard is starting to provide some commentary as well.
The words in the name, of course, the Sportal scoreboard, 5-7-37, Broadview 1-3-9.
Do you know that if Sweden plays Denmark, and you put the first 3 letters, you get Sweden Den.
It's almost like they're in the same kind of location, and they've kind of made those names, and they were naming the countries. Anyway, we're back to the footy, and the ball's inside 50 for Broadview, but it goes out, so we can continue that conversation. I did love that tackle leading towards that last goal, though. So often that can become a dangerous tackle, running at speed. Did so well to pull up and almost caress the player into the turf.
This is with Liam Bennett's. Saints have got their margin back to 32. His kick finds Scarrick. Mark's under pressure. You can see the light monitor going off and on a little bit. The cloud cover is moving at pace. think the rain is clear, but those mollies are still up. Bit of a push, umpire not seen. Sawn by the Broadview bench.
Really nice umpiring.
Glad
Robert
we
Kane.
haven't got them mic'd up.
Hopefully umpire Kane watches this back a bit later, one of the stars of Division 1 umpiring. Oh, strong mark taking it full back, and really nice half backer, should say, for Broadview as they elect to switch, getting a bit of a stumble and stuck in the mud for a split second. Manning relieved to have that ball fall in his grasp. Wilson spoils it, has teammates in support, and the handball back towards Manning. Couple of quick kicks in the space of 30 seconds. Yellow boots, colour coordinated, handball on target. O'Leary, the kick to nothing in particular, over the head of Anyang. Golden fist coming in there from Carter, playing at half-back this afternoon. Handball bypasses McKinnon Collins, and the speed and size of Pridham had the Dirty Dancing shoes on for a split second and got himself out of trouble, and near wing.
It's an interesting one.
Finds
Great.
I mean,
there was no way you were going to get a non-clash today, because the Goodwood Saints are a merger of Goodwood Tigers Football Club and St. Raphael's. So they were once the Tigers. If they wore black, you'd clash with about 60% of the Goodwood jumper. But there's just that little clash with the yellow strip, the gold strip that Goodwood has. And if you're in the... I just wonder if there's going to be some mishandballs in packs by misidentifying players.
Looking at the front of the jersey especially.
Correct. Just that one panel, if that's all you can see. Meanwhile, it's Broadview ball in the far pocket.
O'Leary had it. He spotted up an option, but it went to nothing. Advantage paid. Couple of goals in this quarter. Broadview hanging around.
And it's going to be Nick Ferguson who's going to be credited with the goal. As you can see the scoreboard lighting up. Well, Broadview have kicked two. Goodwood have kicked one this quarter. As we have a look at the replay here. And in the end, see, what happened was, why there was that little bit of confusion, the umpire blew the whistle, Broadview kept on going, umpire then said play advantage, and everyone's looking somewhere else and not the player snapping the ball for the goal. But heads up from Broadview, if you got the shot, take the shot, and you worry about the umpire working it out later.
I think a bit of time to run through Nick Ferguson's career. He was at South Adelaide Reserves back in 08-09, played for Ironbank in 2010-11, South Whyalla was a stop on his football journey, and Balaclava in 2018 and 2019.
Green and gold teams.
Yeah, so he's done the rounds, and here he is, Broadview, Division 1 footy. He's put the hard work in, gets the result on the scoreboard in this second quarter, the second goal for Broadview, closing that gap, 22-point margin. The handballs are hitting all of a sudden. Another entry inside forward 50. Ball needed to be about 2 metres short of where it was directed. It would have been a clear, uncontested mark, and unfortunately for Broadview, mark not taken, but fortunately out of bounds, and they can lock it in.
Yeah, whoever that Phantom 23 is, like the haircut at the back, but I'm afraid we might as well muddy up your number because we're not going to know who you are, as we can find out at half time. Meanwhile, it spills
Pressure
through
released.
some hands, and it's going to be a Goodwood free, go the way of Jack Luders. 12 minutes gone, 22-point lead.
Locals enjoying their afternoon. Sponsors Day here at Goodwood.
Sponsors Day. Obviously, that's a bit of Goodwood Saints merchandise, that nice rugged-up jacket. Very useful for a day like today. Kick into the middle. Umpire's found another free, so Goodwood Saints are going to get some movement here. Oh, the lights are on.
Here we are.
Not sure how much that's going to illuminate things today somehow.
How's that run on from Pridham, just running through and getting it moving. Really well done.
Centres it. No one's there. Ball just stops dead. Favretto picks it up, draws the defenders, kicks it out. Well, he doesn't kick it out, but he passes it out. I mean, again, that's almost a basket. I got the ball. I'm going to do something with it. Everyone surges to the ball carrier and passes it out for the open shot.
How's Nick Favretto getting well tackled, but keeping the hands free and getting that handball, that core strength really to really absorb the pressure of the tackle. And he's been that link man on so many occasions as we have an umpire consultation. Ball's run out of bounds. Looks like it's going to be a Goodwood footy.
Connor Fairley, this time centres it.
Well done.
Good tip drill from the Broadview
Well
defenders.
done.
And just like that, just like that, the ball's on centre wing.
This has been a tough battle, wasn't it? O'Leary and Aryan Serene out there running with each other. Equal size. Oh, well tackled. Didn't dig his head into the ground. Had the opportunity to do so. I don't know about you, Phil, but the games I've covered since the big AFL crackdown, I have seen it trickle down to local footy where the players are taking more care in those tackle situations.
Yeah, and look, I don't like everything at AFL level trickling down to this level. That I don't mind. I think, some of the particular flooding type things or defensive tactics, not sure how well they work here because players can't go that long. But that one I'll take. Fairly in some action.
Oh, Anyang.
Saints. Oh, yeah, that was
just followed up with a hit to the head there off the ball.
Yep. At the 13 and 50 minute mark of the second quarter, someone might want to jot that down and have a look. Fairley, who I'm sure a second ago was not having a shot, but was inside forward 50. He's in defence right now. And you're going to have to work hard today, I think. Thankfully, it's a shorter oval going up or back. Dykesman, one of the veterans, goes down the ring looking for Rana. He's still battling for it, but some good hands. It's worked through Manning, through Cooper O'Leary. Little needs a target and finds Louis Whitelock.
Had the right idea, just kicked it over the head of his intended target on that counter-attack. Broadview, when they get the ball in motion and they can hit up one-on-ones, look dangerous. In this gap on the Sportal scoreboard of 22 points is far from insurmountable. A couple of goals as we tick over perhaps halfway through this quarter, well past halfway as 15 minutes comes up. We're here, of course, thanks to one of our sponsors, Roll the Dice Racing.
Only 3 scoring shots this quarter. They've all been goals. 2 to Broadview, 1 to Goodwood. They've taken what was a 28-point margin, reduced it to 22. No chance to try and get under 20. If there's a mark here to our man in the colour-coordinated boots, he's going to mark the spot.
Jaden Ryan on that occasion getting the 25-metre penalty, not waiting, taking the game on, getting it inside 50, one-on-one, spare man mark.
I think that's what you have to do because it's going to be relatively easy to flood back, as Goodwood have done it now. I'm just trying to pick up how many spare defenders they've got. Might be irrelevant if the kick has the distance. It does, but it's wayward. First behind for the quarter. Margin now, 21 points on the Sportal scoreboard.
Off target, Flanagan, 21-point advantage. They're just a goal or two away from putting some real pressure on Goodwood, and Goodwood, of course, sitting in the lower reaches of the Division 1 table. Fast start, they've kind of stalled. Broadview looking to take advantage as the rain abates. It hasn't got any heavier here at Goody Oval, wherever you're watching from across the world on this Filming Footy stream. We're here, of course, thanks to Sportal, 9 News, Programs to Fit, Banner Crew, Sports Interactive, and Dartfish. Strong hands in the first quarter, but those hands have turned to steel dinner plates in this second. Nicely done. Runner affecting the contest, and Broadview looked to move it through hands. Looked like a clear instruction from the bench. Cut off nicely. He stuck the hand out.
What I was talking about.
Pulled it in, basketball style, bit of a steal. And Yang's been aggressive. Needs to watch that in this second term as Little was more or less escorted out of bounds by Ian Serene, who hasn't had much of the footy, but he's put some pressure on at the right times. Throw in near side.
17 minutes gone. Goodwood by 21 points. Plenty of distance with the throw in. Ruckman trying to do something with it at ground level. Flanagan comes in to help. Puts it inside 50, but front of the ball. Play in front. That was Jack Carter on that occasion. So he's got it. Suddenly he's, oh, my shoe. I need to
my
do
boot
my
on,
shoe.
please, sir, he says to the umpire.
Can I have just a quick time out to do my shoe? Umpire is relatively compliant with that. Showing some empathy with the situation. And the kick, well, geez, there's an uncontested
Not sure he put
mark.
his boot
Hamish
back
Ruff.
on properly there.
They might want to take it off and retie it. So we're playing kick to kick at the moment.
Oh.
Bit of a fist towards the boundary line. It'll be a throw in. And that was, 30 seconds of our lives that really didn't do much.
I tell you what, Phil, something to bring it back to the surface. That's a spoil. We had Spud's game in the AFL last night, Danny Frawley, and he was a big advocate for that golden fists, is what he called it, and that was a fantastic spoil. Got about 10 rows back if we're at an AFL ground.
Yeah, in front of the old non-Sportal scoreboard. since. The Saints have had a big upgrade here. Kick towards the boundary. Well, not kick towards, but it flows towards the boundary. Another throw in. Time on imminent. Well, we said we wanted to see what the wind would do. And okay, right of screen is the scoring end, but not by much.
Only, a 2-goal-to-1 quarter for Broadview. They'll be happy with that. Only kept Goodwood to that solitary goal in this second quarter. Anyang getting around it. Coming out to O'Leary. Oh, he snapped, but he couldn't quite get it through the Goodwood man. He thought he'd become invisible, but much to his chagrin, he didn't. Pridham, he's running all day out there. He's a bit of a sprinter on that wing. Gets criticised sometimes picking up those cheap touches, but he's been in and under the ball, running that wing, and this forward thrust is starting off him, and here he is, right on cue. He's got the earpiece in. He loves it, and he's getting in there again. Anyang just missed the ball. It came to Goodwin at the back of the pack. He fell over after disposing. O'Leary chasing after the player with the ball, and it comes straight back his way. Picked up, chain of handballs, out the back. Really smart. Mark taken by Scarra as they look to enter inside 50. Broadview have numbers back. Looking to add to their 21-point lead, and on the lead, ball just beats him to the turf. Looking to add to his tally in this quarter, Burgess. Broadview bring it out of defensive 50 once again, but it might come straight back their way. Kick of no consequence. Hands up in the contest, and at the back, and really desperate stuff inside forward 50, but to no avail.
Scar and Burgess are having an impact on this game. Burgess almost 2 chances to do something. Coming into play interference there was Gray. Couldn't quite stop the mark. Broadview will bring it out towards this side, the broadcast side, the grandstand side, where it's going to be a free to Scarra. He's certainly shown that he's been in and amongst the mud today. You'd almost want to make sure you came off money today, wouldn't you, Jack? A clean uniform is not what you would want to have. Shows you didn't work hard enough. It's for 30 metres out. This suits Goodwood just fine. Favredo again seems to relish in taking on the entirety of the Broadview defence. There's at least 3 around him on that occasion. And we'll have another ball up. 21 gone. Half time, we'll have a chat to Jack Nooner from Sportal. We'll get some scores around the grounds. I'll get Jack to give his thoughts on how he's going to divvy up some prizes today. And we'll give you all the news we can around the Adelaide Footy League. Round 9 halfway point, as a bit of a discussion as to who's got the free. It's going to be Jaden Ryan once he gets up, if he can get up. And I'm not sure he can. I'm not sure he can take the kick. He's not going to. Towards the benches, and I'm not sure if that was touched. It wasn't. Goodwood will bring it in. Jack Carter, long kick, top of the square, job, exactly where he'd put it. Oh, gee, that was a spoil.
Oh, slam.
Man, slam. Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Shades of WWE inside forward
goodness.
50. Picked him up, put him down.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting about dangerous activities and player safety there. That's number 2 I've seen today. Broadview will clear. We'll go as far as Ben Manning. He's been out and about for the Tigers. Rolly's still up on that far side, although there's one brave soul using the tree as his umbrella. That's the tennis club over there. Not sure it's... and they are playing tennis, as you'll see as that ball sails past. Not sure you get much of a good game in today. Broadview continue to work it down the wing. Spills out of bounds. Half-time imminent. Can Broadview maybe get one more goal and put a bit of a dent in this Goodwood lead?
Jaden Ryan just coming off to assess that injury he's picked up, so fingers crossed that he's able to rejoin us shortly. And a couple of fists coming in. You've got to gain the territory any way you can. Gray chases after it. Gray by name, and if you look up, well, it's grey in the sky as well. Isavo, the rain just abating for the time being and playing in favour of Broadview, but they just can't quite get it down the ground inside 50 and take their chances. As it is, a lead of 22 as we tick past the 23-minute mark this quarter.
Some magic spray or ointment on the Broadview bench.
It's a bit of a tough slog inside, and umpire decides to separate it and get some clearance work happening. It will go the way of Broadview. Getting stuck in. Short option is on. That was Ferguson, but instead, inside 50 is the run. The call from the bench. Not much time left. He paddles it towards the boundary, the Goody defender, and gets there just in time and taken out of bounds. But with 23.5 played, barely a couple of minutes left, a goal here close the margin to within 3 goals at half-time. Really necessary.
Yeah, well, Broadview haven't managed. They've kicked 2 goals, okay, but they haven't done anything back-to-back as yet. So they haven't really been able to establish a momentum time so far in this game. It usually happens for every side when they play, so maybe second half we'll find out. For the moment, Goodwood clear. Hamish Ralph is the general direction. Now suddenly 15 players around the ball. I reckon that's Burgess at the bottom of that again. And we'll have another stoppage.
Strong tackle, O'Leary.
There's quite a few players actually decide they've had enough and they'll go back towards the Goodwood forward line. Heitman by the boundary, kept it in. Broadview got a hand in there through Cooper O'Leary. Touched out of bounds, and this was sort of the game that I expected to see this afternoon in this second quarter. We had 4 goals kicked in the first, quite a few early on, and 3 goals kicked in the second. 2 to Broadview, 1 to the Goodwood Saints.
Saints out of the blocks like
Max
Verstappen this season, the Formula One, leaving them all behind. But as you said, they've kind of come back to the pack in this second quarter, and if the kicks like that one were a little bit more on target, 1 metre to the left, 1 metre to the right, Broadview would have had a bit more scoreboard nourishment, as they say these days. As it is, can't find the big sticks, but
scoreboard
half-time
nourishment.
intimate, yes.
I like that, just before half-time.
Coaches talk about nourishing the scoreboard to get that reward for effort. They need a little bit of luck in this ruck contest. Bit of a quick snap on the boot. Little looking to innovate that luck, but the snap comes, and I'm not sure where he thought Lou Whitelock was going. He pretty much kicked him straight in the guts.
I've got no idea who number 23 is, but I like the persistence. I'm going to try. You might be hanging on to me. I'm going to try a couple of times.
Tried to kick it straight through him.
Can't say he conceded the out of bounds, can you? So it is in Broadview's area. There's a lot of players. This is usually where maybe a free kick ends up. Broadview have it. Good tackle by Scara. Umpire said, I'm going to give that free kick, but it's going the way of Anthony Scara for the holding the ball. Handball
not in time.
Well, Chris Cross, I reckon that's Louis Whitelock hiding behind the umpire on the screen at the moment.
Bit of possession footy to close this term, perhaps.
3 goals, 26-minute mark. Looking for Heitman, and it will stay out of bounds. So I reckon the person racking up the most touches in the last 5 minutes has been our bounds umpire.
He might be on for our best on ground this afternoon.
Team player award.
There he is, getting some screen time. Let's see a AFL standard throw in from you, Bradley. Let's see how we go. He had a chat with him prior to the game. He said, just mention my throw-ins for the coaches watching.
Oh,
so
that's bang on.
Beautiful. Bruckman didn't need to move. O'Leary's been good this quarter. Might be a lovely goal for Broadview, and they just need that luck to turn their way inside forward 50. A scrap here, a quick kick out of stoppage. Comes the way, and this might be the luck they need. Goal umpire has to work. Just works away to the right-hand side. They just need that to go through. It might have been O'Leary again. He's been best on in this second term as Broadview look to push the envelope.
For Gravy Apparel New Balance, they will give the $100 voucher. Of course, the iconic Dartfish beanie. And Jack Moore will be deciding who the best player of the game is, and we'll be having a very brief chat to them after the game.
Iconic, I like that.
Yeah. Well,
that logo is definitely very iconic.
Yeah. Well, every player can say, I've got a Dartfish beanie. It's not for sale.
Wear it out.
Money can't buy.
You can wear it out to the Mosley Bar and Kitchen.
Well,
of
that's
course,
what we encourage them to do. Wherever your watering hole is,
product.
Wear it. Stand out. Get the ladies' attention.
Half-time ticking down. Waiting in the back for a lotta. Had an open goal and more time than he thought he had.
Pepperin.
2 behinds in the last couple of minutes. One of those were goals. We'd have a real game on our hands, more than what we do. It's only a 20-point break, but the majority of that 20-point lead was set up within the first 10 minutes as Goody rolled out of the blocks with 2 goals early to Jay Cleland, and Favretto and Fairley adding one of their own in the first quarter. Goalless in this second term. The halftime siren is not greeting us yet. Broadview pushing it in.
Well, I reckon This almost might be worth having a shot, but no.
Short option, see something he likes, taken out of it. Umpire says play on. Didn't get the footy. From my position, perhaps a free kick.
It really looks like the only way Broadview is going to get a goal here is if the umpire pays a free within about the inside 30 metres.
They've had it in there enough.
Yeah.
Short kick option. It's just going to spill to the back of where he intended the target to go. Riding it nicely, Favoretto.
That's strength again.
Dismissive was the noun to describe that from the captain. Not leading the Goodwood Saints today. That honour going towards Heitman.
I'm hoping that Broadview have more than one
role.
on the bench. If not, they're in for a long
All
second
those
half.
seats are free. We might need to go down there ourselves and add some attention.
I am surprised how long this quarter is going. I mean, yeah, there's been a stack of stoppages. 29 minutes gone. It's true centre wing position. Saints with the tap down and the pick up, and there's your halftime siren. And even though, at the end of the day, Broadview won the quarter, kicking 2 goals, 3 to 1 goal 1, I'm giving the win to Goodwood for keeping a fair chunk of their buffer. You can see the Sportal scoreboard. The Saints by 20 points. Goal scorers thus far for Goodwood: 2 to Cleveland in 2 minutes. Favoretto, Burgess and Fairley. The goal scorers for Broadview: Cooper, O'Leary and Nick Ferguson. Half time, we're going to have a chat to John Noonan after the break. We're going to also get you some scores around the Division 1. Come back and analyse this game as well. You're with Jack Moore, Phil Herden and the Filming Footy crew. Thanks to Filming Footy, you're watching the Adelaide Footy League.
Nine News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on, or a message from the club, whether it be like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back, everyone. I love scoreboards. It was my first footy job back in my teens at the Plimpton Bulldogs, and let's face it, they're always an important part of any footy game. Well, next to me is a man who loves scoreboards even more. He's my next guest, the marketing manager from our great scoreboard sponsor, Sportal, John Noonan. John, welcome. What would a footy game be without a scoreboard?
Well, it might be an amateur game, I think, but you definitely need a scoreboard so everybody can tell who's winning, don't you? And who'd have a winner without a scoreboard, you know?
Very hard to keep track of, otherwise you're going and asking the goal umpire every 30 seconds what's the score. So we thank you, obviously, in Sportal, great support of our live streams. Who is Sportal?
So Sportal's a startup company. They're actually a sibling company of One World LED, which is a company that's about 20 years old. I'm going to talk a bit of double Dutch, but One World LED's the inventor of the 4th screen of significance. It's a standalone internet-connected board, a bit like your smartphone's a standalone internet-connected device. A Sportal is a standalone internet-connected device. You manage it from your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop, your smart TV, anything connected to the internet. That's how you manage it, but you can also spectate using Sportal. So anybody can download the Sportal app from there, whether it's an Apple or an Android app store, and if you don't have the delegated right through a password to actually control the board, you can actually spectate the game. So anybody watching the Goodwood versus Broadview game, anybody who wants to watch the Goodwood versus Broadview game today, if you're not at the ground, download the Sportal app and you'll be able to see the real-time score. You'll be able to see the sponsors, the Goodwood sponsors, and you'll be able to see some video of the game as well from Dartfish.
I was going to ask you, what do the Sportal scoreboards provide? It sounds like it's great vision for those here, but also great access for those not here.
Well, yeah, we extend the game to the virtual internet, so anybody anywhere around the world can see the game.
And the scoreboards that Sportal provide, you mentioned a lot of technological things. How easy are they to control?
It's as easy as a social media app. People often ask me, where's the manual? And I say, mate, if I had to show you a manual, then we failed. It's as easy as running Facebook or Instagram or any of your favourite social media apps.
And clubs that have used them, how have they found that enhancing their game day experience?
Well, they get to put their sponsors up. They get not only do they have a very useful scoreboard on the day, but sponsors love it because there's sponsors advertising all over the place. Kenilworth Footy Club, for example, we've already had our first movie night there. So it's a community board, not just a game day board. It's a board that's there for the community across the whole week.
Movie night, that's a great idea. So those that want to have a movie night, show their sponsors, give scores out to their fans here and not here, how do they get in contact with you?
They contact Sportal at www.sportal.gg. Good stands for good game, and there's all the contact details on that website.
Fantastic, John Fressy. Thanks for your support of our live streams, and hope you enjoy the rest of today's festivities.
Thank you very much, Phil, and thanks to Dartfish.
Well, that was John Noonan from Sportal. We'll be back with much more footy after the break.
Nine News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on, or a message from the club, whether it be like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Nine News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back. The teams are out. Broadview won last huddle. They currently trail Goodwood Saints by 20 points here. And of course, our great sponsors include Sportal. Thanks to John Noonan for the chat at half-time. 9 News, programs to fit. Of course, Interactive, Dartfish, amongst many. And of course, the Banner Crew are our stream team sponsor. Thanks to Jason at thebannercrew.com.au. Some scores around the grounds, and as usual, there's some interesting ones. Old Ignatians and Brighton, it was Brighton by 2 at quarter time. It's now Brighton by 16. So Old Ignatians, they're in touch. Brighton leading, trying to get to 4 and 5 at the halfway point. St Peter's and Port District. Look, St Peter's got a bit of a wriggle on. It was Port District by 30. St Peter's All right, Lachlan McKenzie, apologies for the technical. Good news is you haven't missed a score. You've come back right as Lachlan McKenzie has the mark or the free kick. Take your pick. He's from the mud patch. He's kicked it over the goal umpire's hat, and the heaviest rain of the day. And Broadview, they needed to get the first goal of the third quarter. To be honest, they need to get a few. And what you are watching on your screen is nowhere near as dark as what it is live. The light meter on cameras is incredible, Jack Moore.
Well, we've gone from a day game to a night game in the space of about 5 minutes in this third quarter. The umpires, the players, they're certainly earning their pay this afternoon.
Yeah. So
but a goal for Broadview and game on.
Yeah, what have we haven't quite got. Actually, let me just check. On the Sportal scoreboard, the real one. Yeah, 5 minutes for the first score. It was a goal to Broadview, and now we're back in the middle. And it will be Broadview in the mud to get the clearance. Rolls towards that forward centre, so tails up and about. First goal of the quarter. Can they make it 2? And if they can, well, it's 14 points at the moment.
That's a try.
Touchdown, Tigers.
Grounded it over the line. Let's go to the bunker. We're very lucky that we're in some sort of bunker here at Goodwood Saints. Great hospitality from the Saints.
We're not worried about the conditions whatsoever, are we, Jack?
Oh, it's beautiful when you get to sit back and just listen to the rain and watch these guys pile over a small lump of leather.
We've got to thank the Goodwood Footy Club because this is their boardroom that we're hijacking every time we come here. They got Sponsors Day. They could have had something in here, but instead they've got us. So thank you, Goodwood.
Ferguson takes it and pushes it deep into the teeth of goals. Do you Broadview a better wet weather side? We'll find out in the next few minutes because they're closing in. 14 points is all that stands between these two teams. And ushering it out of bounds and diving in there. Geez, these boys will be looking forward to their first drink at the Moseley this afternoon, or this evening, I should say.
And again, the camera, you can see the rain, but the camera does not quite show the intensity of that rain when you're here. It's as heavy as it's been all afternoon, and this is going to become... I'm not sure if it's going to be Lake Goodwood by the time we're done, but it's going to be some mud flats, I reckon.
Well, I definitely feel sorry for the juniors who have to play on this tomorrow. It's not going to be an easy match.
Well, aren't they going to have a family day tomorrow?
Family, yeah, this weekend and it was planned, and aborted that because of the state of the oval. That was pre-match. Imagine what it was now. Inside 50, 3 or 4 Goody Saints. The representation is strong. They might get a goal out of nothing. Quick snap out of the pack from Dykesman. But it goes towards the outer side. Broadview there to clean up. And the instruction now is just to get it on the boot and gain territory. And uncontested mark like that. And another one going inside forward 50, stopping on a dime. Ryan Gray. Chance to answer that goal minutes ago from the Tigers.
Well, the opening minutes of the first quarter were all Goodwood. They set up this lead. They played really good dry weather footy. Then we had Fairley's goal of the day, most likely play of the day. Nothing fancy or dry weather now. This is basic stuff. Football at its rawest. As the kick from outside 50 will fall short and will be another behind, which is Goodwood's 9th. They go to 5-9-39. Broadview 3-6-24. That is on the Sportal scoreboard.
Backed himself in there, Ryan Gray, from distance and looking into his piece. Played for Witten. Now, they must be two of the most interesting team names,
Circular
I think,
Heads in Tassie.
Tassie, yep, the Northern Tasmanian League.
Up northwest near a place called Stanley, where they have a big rock. Lovely. You know the Bluff at Granite Island?
Oh, beautiful.
Bluff at Victor Harbour? Indeed. Well, they have the Nut.
The Nut.
Like the Bluff, but with a flat top.
Oh, goodness me, the Bluff. That brings back bad memories of school camp. We used to have to walk about 10 Ks back and forth. Broadview, well, they've got a journey of their own and a mountain of their own to climb as Pridham, who would be up there as best on ground, looking for that New Balance voucher and that Darfish beanie.
Jack Moore is saying, impress me. I got prizes to give away. Impress me.
Get amongst it. Oh, good spoil just at the right time. Hands to it, rush through. And when you get it down your end, Phil, often the only result to get it out of there is a goal, as that brings it back to the middle. It's incredibly tough to cover the distance and get it to your end when it's stuck in defensive 50.
And the ball keeps on flying into those cricket nets, and the poor designated kicker has to go all the way down the end and collect it. The conditions are a bit rough, and yes, the way to goals is not really down the middle today. So this is it's not. Anyway, it is the kick in. Broadview numbers I've just been struggling with all day. I'm just going to give up at some point. holding the ball.
Real chance here. Push it inside 50. Long kick option. One-on-ones forward of the ball.
Yeah, whoever kicked it in. Well, this is a 23. We've decided this is Sam Danielle because he's too good a player not to have been called all the half. And he does have a 3 in his number. 38 possessions last week. That's who it's going to be until someone corrects us. Broadview towards the tennis club. Hot footy at forward 50. I mean, are you expecting anyone really to mark in these conditions? Some good hands. Maybe a head pass too much. Broadview on the turnover. I think getting any kind of possessions in sequence is going to be tough. Over the shoulder. And Broadview free. And here's their chance. Their best chance yet to get
down and dirty.
3 goals. It would be 3 goals in a row if they can nail one here.
Real nice effort. Jackson Wilson through the hands. Put your hands out. It's going to go straight through them on a day like this. Match of the week. Right here. And he just holds on to that mark. Umpire said play on. And the handball game comes out. And all of a sudden we're in the middle of the ground. Broadview all day. It's been a symptom. It's been hard to lock it inside 50 when they do enter. And we're inside Goodwood's forward 50. And a quick snap going towards goals. Goal square unguarded. Beautiful snap from Heitman. Really nice. Summed it up. And on a day like this, getting it towards goal. And the ground surface did the rest. It carried the ball through. And that is a massive lead now for Broadview to overcome.
Just checking to see if it was a 5 or a 6.
Sportal replay.
Yep. But that's your basic footy. Get the ball, kick the ball, try and keep it straight, low. Goal to Goodwood. Good answering play. I
think it was Dykesman in the end as we see Heitman just coming off the bench there. So a beautiful goal to Dykesman inside 50 to look through him. He's got the shoulder strap, so indeed it was.
Kicked 2 last week, 9 goals for the season now. One of 9 Goodwood Saints players who's played every game at league level this season. And they get the big thump from Rana, who's in ruck. And there's a free downfield.
Goodwood just threatening to take this game away from Broadview here.
Wouldn't take too many more for them to have a match-winning lead heading into the final quarter. Of course, we reckon the right of screen is the scoring end. And they've got a mark. And this is a chance, because this is, from what we've seen today, well within scoring territory.
Broadview bench just pondering avenues back into this one. The lead 22. This would be a 5-goal margin to overcome should he kick truly.
And this is Skara, who's had a mixture of league and reserves games. I reckon last time I saw Goody Saints, he might have got a card. I'll stand corrected on that. Right now, it's all about what he can do with this ball, which has got to be getting a bit heavy and wet, slippery, but he's kept it in. 2 in a row to Goodwood Saints. Broadview got it back to 14. The Saints have moved it out back to 26.
That's a 28-point margin now.
28.
Same thing. Sportal scoreboard 7-10-52. Broadview 3-6-24 as we tick past 13 minutes. There we are. Jack Moore, Phil Herden, along for the call match of the week in the Adelaide Footy League. Of course, all matches streamed live and on demand on the Filming Footy page. So if you want to jump across to one of the other matches and check that out, and of course rejoin us for the concluding stages. Still plenty of time left in this match.
If you missed it at half-time, the margins in the other games, it was Brighton by 16 over Old Iggy's, Port District by 15 over St. Peter's, Glenunga by 1 over Sacred Heart, and Prince Alfred 62-point leaders over Teacher Gully, who have 2 points at the half-time break.
Nicely done in the air, coming through Pridham. Gee, he's been the everywhere man, and speaking about everywhere man, the South Adelaide veteran Nick Little just tackling anything that moves. Here, thanks to Sportal. Our game sponsor Banner Crew, Roll the Dice Racing, Buddy Bet, 9 News, Programs to Fit, Sports Interactive as Goody work it out with handballs. Carter didn't quite hit the target, and away they go, pushing inside forward 50. Wet ball, tough to go the distance, working off his man down inside the goal square, but just not able to reel that footy in. Roll the Dice Racing bringing you this game. Broadview away to Goodwood Saints, inside forward 50, really requiring a goal. The last goal of the day going the way of Ryan of
Dykesman.
Dykesman. It was, of course.
That's okay. I'm happy
Just
to bail you out
just
for once
mixing
this
it up.
afternoon because you've been doing it to me all day.
A really strong play.
Over the shoulder, and another Broadview opportunity to score inside 50. The inside 50 counts to goals for Broadview would not be great. Kicks it to the tennis court side where there is a Broadview presence, and that is Dominic Presido, who kicks it in towards the 50-metre arc. Good pick up, good kick. One-on-one contest for a rare occasion that spare defensive player for Goodwood couldn't get back in time. They'll tap it around the boundary. That was deliberate as it comes. But, of course, Colin Ralston, the umpire's manager, told me the first year that I started calling this competition, there is no such thing in the Adelaide Footy League as deliberate out of bounds.
I think it has to be something.
If you ever see it, call me.
Obvious.
He's got to stamp it out.
A player takes possession in the middle of the ground and sprints towards the boundary. That possibly might
And
be.
hands the ball to the boundary umpire. No, that's still not intentional.
Still not intentional. Goodness gracious. That last goal, getting my players mixed up, was Skara, of course.
Yes.
I'm just going to mention he crossed
Dykesman
over.
the one before.
Indeed it was. Crossed over to Unley in 2019 and 2020. It was at Goodwood from 2014, 2018, and came back and having a pretty good season.
I reckon one of
free
the
kick here.
upsets of all the years, 3 seasons, was Goodwood going down to Unley at Unley in a year the Jets got relegated, and Skara, I think, was on the Unley side on that day. But here's a very important kick for Broadview. They've got to make every shot a winner. Nick Ferguson has the ball in his hands, and he has sprayed it to the right. 3-7-25 is Broadview, 7-10-52. I'm going to try my maths again. I reckon it's 27 points.
Bing, 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 bing. Right on the money. Ferguson, a goal in that second quarter, looking to add a second to his tally. As I say, good kicking is good footy, and even though Goodwood have recorded 10 behinds to their name, when the chances have come, they've put them through the big sticks at the right time. And that, of course, establishes a 27-point lead. 16.5 gone. Sportal scoreboard towards forward 50 again. That man, Ferguson, trying to pick out a player. O'Leary's been good a little. Get it on the boot. Sonny did towards the teeth of goal. It's all contest. Coming back with the flight and running in from nowhere. Soccer off the ground just across the left-hand side of goal.
Did that miss?
Just need those kicks to fall on the right side of the boot. Goodness, Broadview have been a bit unlucky this afternoon.
That was Jacob Ratola who had the penalty shot in front of goal, and things like that. They just indicate to me it's just not your day.
Rylotto was right on time, wasn't he? But just came off the wrong side of the boot. Goody, bring it in. Play on, says the umpire. That's a spiral. Look at that one go. That was an absolute artwork in the air if you're taking a photo of that.
Blighty would have been proud of that one.
Beautiful football spin on that one. Not so much what they teach in terms of the drop punt, but that ball was
of course,
beautiful.
you can't just kick for territory these days. That was actually deemed to be touched. So it's going to be a throw-in in front of the Sportal scoreboard. So if you ever want a big scoreboard for your day, it comes on a trailer. Apparently, get the Sportal app and you get us. What a bonus.
Sportal are fantastic partners. They've
can't promise that every game.
Not every game, but for this one especially, if you're enjoying it, hopefully you're rugged up wherever you may be watching this Dartfish telecast. And on filming footy, every game, streamed live, as I was saying earlier, in Division 1 this season. And hopefully as the rain pours down and you're tuning in, you're well comfortable. And if you're a Broadview fan, gee, you've been yelling at the screen a few times, I think, today.
Check your fingernails. You might want to put some Band-Aids on them because it's been a frustrating afternoon. They've shown little patches but nothing consistent. Like most teams at some point have a 5-minute patch. Broadview have had it in field position. It's they're having trouble with the scoreboard, putting something on there today.
And since that first quarter burst, that opening 7 or 8 minutes, it's been pretty even. But Goodwood, as you said, came out of the blocks, whacked on 3 to 4 goals in that opening half of that first quarter, and that's the difference.
You've taken a bit of a longer half-time break than intended. Well, you missed the first 4 minutes, but then everybody did. Broadview kicked the first goal, and they kicked the next goal, got within 14 points. But since then, it's been all Goodwood, and they've got it back to 28 points, which I think is equal game high.
Here's Lynch looking around for options, and Broadview, not that they're out of options.
It's a very popular bench, isn't it?
It's not too
shelter.
I'm not sure if they've come in there to add some tips to the coaching team, but need a bit more than that. The tactics in the first quarter, they were left at the starting blocks, and it's been that way for the rest of the match. They're fighting hard, and they fought hard all afternoon, coming in with a strong tackle. Nicely done, Carlisle. In there, O'Leary, been great. Tackle without it, around the neck. Umpire Von Einem comes in. Phil, they're swapping phone numbers out there.
They are indeed. Dominic Fratico tackled the guy without the ball and then tackled him incorrectly. It was
just left one on him for later as well.
Left the umpire in no doubt that should have been a free.
So finding a lovely target running into space. Here's the captain of the day, Jacob Heitman. Led the team well. The Saints have gone marching in this afternoon up to this point. And that's a bit of luck that Broadview haven't got. Running into an open goal is Fairley. He's tackled, but the boot was true. 2 goals in the afternoon for Connor Fairley. That might just be a match-winning lead as we tick towards time on third quarter. The Saints are well and truly marching in.
I forgot to explain to you what happens when I give you a 2-finger salute. Hopefully, I still like it. It's okay.
No, that's okay.
Second goal.
No offense. Our viewers are pondering exactly what we're talking about, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. The 2-finger salute. He's got 2 goals on the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry for any offence caused.
Yes. Well, depending on which way you're looking at it, I guess.
Oh, indeed. Phil Hurd and Jack Moore along for the call.
There you go, folks. You're getting an insight into the non-verbals that occur in the commentary booth.
Indeed. We're really enjoying our lovely heated room this afternoon
We
while
are.
the players go hammer
I don't
and
want
tong
to go
out
home.
there. Oh, jump on that footy, why don't you? Oh, how's the splash?
Pile on, stacks
Wet-
on. Come on, guys. Get muddy. Get into it.
Wet and wild. If you look at the umpire, Von Einem had a smile on his face watching that. He actually did. He's still smiling about it. The players.
Ollie Johnson.
Oh, goodness me. Who is that Broadview man there, number 14? Elix Day. I think there's more. You can barely see his skin. It's just more mud. All of his legs covered in it. They dive in over it. O'Leary. He's been Broadview's best. Pridham, not afraid to get involved. Oh, another Goody Saints player, Oliver Johnson from the midriff down, absolutely soaked in the in the mud.
Meanwhile, Goodwood are trying to work it through. Broadview have got on the way. They've actually got the first kick out of all of that. But every time, Goodwood look to have Broadview's measure. Although great work, this is going to come off, I reckon, for Broadview. It is. Nick Ferguson has goal number... You can do it to me now.
Oh, 2.
Goal number 2. And that's
Second
a much-needed one for the Tigers.
Really well done from Broadview.
I was about to say Goodwood defences look solid, but it's that work rate right there at ground level to push it forward. And a rare Tiger player in forward space, and Ferguson had enough boys to find the way home.
It's a real 1%er from was Logan McKinnon Collins there, getting the ground ball getting it up to a player on the run without anyone on his tail. And we covered Broadview a few weeks ago. Logan McKinnon Collins was tapping out in the ruck. He's playing a bit of a different role this afternoon, but real tough to get down and move that ball forward and keep this margin at 26 points. And it's just not a match-winning margin just yet, as the rain has abated, Phil. The wind looks to have died down, and we're on a level playing surface.
It's interesting. Half the ground the brollies are down, and half the ground some brollies are still up. So maybe those people haven't noticed yet that the rain's abated. They're so transfixed on the contest in front of them, which has Goodwood ahead by 26 points. We're into time on. Three-quarter time is imminent. Broadview defence, their turn to be under siege, and there's a soccer off the ground. Oh,
it's kind of what I was talking about earlier with kicking it through or running it out of bounds from about 40 metres out. But, you can do that in the Adelaide Footy League.
Was there a time when we used to have a black flag?
Oh.
Remember back then, a black flag, and you'd wave it if it was a deliberate rush behind and you get the free kick or something?
I think you'd find the AFL would.
That's an AFL thing, not here.
Yeah,
no, that was an AFL
this
thing.
This is pure footy.
That was possibly in NAB Cup with the super goal type of rules. Didn't mind the super goal.
I don't mind the super goal. One thing I did like, I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me, but with the ball hitting the post and bouncing back into play, being play on, thought that was a little delicious initiative.
I didn't mind that.
Didn't last.
I call a range of sports, and if you hit the rim in basketball, go get the rebound. American football, you hit the post. If it goes through, it counts. If it doesn't, it's not. And Ollie Johnson's just had a bit of a hose down, I reckon. Get
Trying to
some of
clean
that mud
himself
off.
up, but you're going to need more than one towel for that, Oliver.
No, you've actually...
Dismissed over the boundary line by Serene.
No, I quite like that rule. I think that if you can be rewarded for hitting the post, you probably should be, because it's hard to hit the post.
Every other sport, if you hit a post and it bounces back into play, it's play on, isn't it?
Correct,
So
soccer.
one of the unique aspects of our game, of course, is Little is just
He's just taken out a
Taken
chunk
out.
from Goodwood Oval.
it's been a tough day for Little. He's picking himself up. You do expect a bit more. I'm not going to be too what is the word I'm looking for?
Haven't seen Little much this
Critiquing, I
quarter,
guess,
but in the
you
first
would
quarter
say.
he was up there and having clearances. And Broadview, as mentioned, I don't think they're getting chewed up in the midfield. I think that they're getting outdone when they go forward.
Not on the same page as the handball came looking for Cooper O'Leary, who's arguably been Broadview's best this afternoon, along with
Well, speaking of best of the
Perhaps
opposition, of
Pratico.
course, as well as our prizes, we have to come up with a 3-2-1 for the Roll the Dice Racing Player of the Year. And the winner of that gets a share in a racehorse. Apparently it's been named, but no one's shared that with me yet, so we'll announce that in due course. So, will a Broadview, if the margin sticks, maybe a Broadview player will get on that list.
So that's right in front of us there, Phil. From our position, that did look slightly dangerous. Umpire not agreeing. Perhaps didn't have a
There's a few
perfect angle
dangerous
on that.
ones for mine that have been missed, but I'm not an accredited umpire, so maybe they're not there.
Hard to see it all.
And maybe, well, and that's the other thing. We always see it from the outside looking in. Umpires see it from the inside looking out. Again, doing other sports, I wouldn't mind seeing the boundary umpire, if not the ability to call freeze, maybe be able to give a guide occasionally, like they do with out of bounds or last possession.
I don't mind that idea as well, and at least having a bit of a consultation like they might do if the ball was close to the boundary line when it goes out of bounds. You know, a little bit of time off the clock to get the right decision is a worthwhile enterprise. Broadview at fullback, just haven't been able to get it forward of centre much this afternoon. Anyang presents. He's taken down on the contest. Umpire waves play on. Straight up in the air as the Captain O'Leary runs past it, getting in strongly Looters and taken down with a hard tackle crunched into the Goodwood Oval turf, and perhaps another one where the player's going to find it hard to
Just hope that player gets
get up. It's Favoretto.
Favoretto.
Anybody else? Would you expect anybody else to rise from the bottom of the pack?
Rise unharmed.
The Stallion himself coming through. I was here last game, Phil, when I was covering Goodwood on the Dartfish broadcast, and mentioned the Italian Stallion, and sitting to the side of me was Favoretto's closest relatives, and they were complimentary of the term.
Okay.
So I was a bit of a risk bringing out a nickname,
Always
but
good to be compared with Rocky Balboa.
indeed. Locked up, middle of the ground. 27 played, a couple of long quarters.
You always wonder what happens when you commentate families around.
Especially if
I've
you
had
don't,
it the other way, I can tell you.
especially if you're not sure who they are. Favoretto picking him up, and the umpire looking almost to call holding the ball, but he put him down
That was almost
nicely.
the payback, wasn't it?
Favoretto rising in the stakes for player of the game. Cleland started beautifully. Pridham's been consistent, but Favoretto, as always, leading the charge for this Saints
You've got
team.
some work to do, haven't you?
Indeed. Saints look to close in that top 5 with a win today. They'll be within 2 points of Broadview, who coincidentally, with other results going as they may, they could rise even if losing this game.
Well, I did a little bit of percentage count, and there's a 5. Bottom line is, if Tea Gully get done by 15, 20 goals, and Broadview don't get beaten by a lot, could be a change in the top 5 just on percentages, even if both lose.
That 5th spot really up for grabs this season. The top 4 have established themselves, and well, with Glenunga losing a few in a row and Port District inconsistent, perhaps even 3rd, 4th, 5th spot are up for grabs. And Brighton, Broadview, Saints, they're all charging for it.
Yeah, next week we're off to Karen Rolton Oval for Tea Gully and Old Ignatians, which based on current form would be a pretty even contest. Soccer off the ground,
How
easy
easy.
as you like. That's what, the second soccer we've seen for a goal in recent times. And is that Mason Ellis, I reckon? Or is it just the fact that he's...
Spot on, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. You just got to check the number. Has it been splattered in mud and comes up with something else, like
Again?
a calculator with a flat battery?
Again, the frontal number on the jersey doing
Yes,
wonders.
yes,
Thank you very
thank
much,
you.
Goodwood Saints.
Yep, there we go, lined up. And it's interesting. He's 20 metres out with plenty of room to miss. Right down the middle. Broadview and a soccer shot. Almost can't miss territory, and you miss. It's been that kind of day for the Broadview Footy Club. Now trailing by a game-high 33 points with three-quarter time imminent.
It's like someone scripted all the half chances to fall the way of Goodwood, and none have fallen the way of Broadview when in front of goals. Forward 50 Enterprise, late third quarter, a goal here would kill it. The tackle was beautiful, wanting to be rewarded, the Broadview bench. Three-quarter siren beats everyone to the punch. And our Sportal scoreboard is showing a comprehensive lead for Goodwood, 9-11-65, Broadview 4-8-32, a lead of 33 points. That last goal from Mason Ellis, the real killer as we approach the fourth quarter.
In that quarter, Goodwood kicked 4 goals, 3. Broadview kicked the first. They kicked 2 goals, 2 for that quarter. We'll give you the goal scorers. 2 to Cleland, 2 to Fairley, singles to Ellis, Burgess and Rana and Favretto for Goodwood. For Broadview, 2 to Ferguson, 1 to O'Leary and Mackenzie. Three-quarter time, we'll be back with scores and the final quarter with Jack Moore, Phil Herden and the crew. This is the Adelaide Footy League. Thanks to Filming Footy.
Teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on, or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Broadview huddle. Getting Matt Burgess's words of instruction. 33 points down. They've got to double their score. That seems to have pretty good attention from the playing group. Don't see too many drifting off there, Jack Moore. They all seem to be paying attention to the coach.
I've noticed a few times this season where Leeds have threatened to blow out, and you never know, because come finals time, a final spot or a top 3 or top 2 spot can be decided on percentage, and that 2 or 3 goals kicked in round 8 or round 9 can really come back to bite you come end of season, come finals placings.
Well, might come back to the commentary spot because what I might show you, hello, is the prizes that we will be giving away at the end of the day as Broadview break their huddle.
3 really important prizes too, and awards. So we've got a Best On Ground award, a Play of the Day, and Best Team Player, and here we are.
So the New Balance voucher, iconic Dartfish beanie for the Play of the Day. Nice Mia mouth guard for the Play of the Day.
Indeed.
And the Moseley Bar and Kitchen voucher for the Team Player. We thank all of those sponsors. Roll the Dice Racing as well for the Player of the Year. we'll be giving a 3-2-1, as is given at every Division 1 game.
And I'll be down on ground immediately following the final siren to make 3 players' days a little bit better. Perhaps I'll be careful not to get a bit of mud on me as well, Phil.
How you manage that, I'll be quite fascinated, Jack.
See.
I'm going to get some scores around the grounds. I'll let you call the footy, and when I'm ready to go, I'll let you know to share those scores.
Some really important games this afternoon in Division 1 footy. A reminder, all those games live, on demand, Filming Footy YouTube. Watch it now, watch it during the week, doesn't matter. Catch up with all the games. And of course, the Between the Posts wrap-up show on the Adelaide Footy League Facebook page every week. Comprehensive wrap of the league statewide as we're back in the middle, the start of the fourth quarter, and going at it. Rana follows up his work nicely, gets taken off it. A bit of a scrap heap in there, and the mud is splattering everywhere coming out of it. Johnson, important clearance towards forward 50, and they go hard and taking the ground in a dangerous fashion. Umpire might award this one, he does. Slung him straight to ground and coming away with it, Manning. Across the ground, Broadview look to take it on. It's time to take some chances and take some risks. Held before he marked it, but benefit of the doubt to Tommy Lynch, and he takes the mark, sharing a name with 2 very famous Tom Lynches in AFL standards, but it's gone towards forward 50. Can't quite call this Lynch 10-goal Tommy this afternoon. The ball was spurted off the kneecap of one of the players down there. And thrown in, 60 around from goal. Sportal scoreboard, 9-11-65. Goody. Broadview, 4-8-32. Almost match-winning lead, 33 points. Rain is abated. Lights are on. Couple of goals in the opening moments of this quarter for Broadview. You just don't know. That's footy. Little going after it, fighting hard. Core strength on display. Beautifully done. Out of contest, and it's an open road ahead as Wilson goes down towards forward 50. It's been a case and symptomatic of their play all day. They've kicked it not to their advantage. Falling over himself, but getting a bit lucky down there. Saints bring it away to a contest. Strong contested mark and flying nicely. Jackson Wilson doing some good work early in this quarter through the hands of Day. And away to the outer wing where some of the supporters have put down their umbrellas and looking to enjoy a fourth quarter here thanks to Dartfish. Match of the week. Jack Moore alongside Phil Herden, who will rejoin me shortly with some scores from the other matches in Division 1 footy this afternoon. Margin of 33 points, 2 minutes played. Sportal scoreboard. We're here, of course, thanks to 9 News, Programs to Fit, Sports Interactive, Banner Crew. Here's Pridham. He's been pretty good this afternoon, the young man. 42 marks on the season, Pridham, before this game. A season lead. And West Adelaide under 18 experience for the young man. Dykesman presents nicely. He's taken the mark as he gets personal with the grass here at Goody Oval. Just perhaps inhaled a bit. Matty Rao style, not quite having a full intake of the grass as Mr. Rao does in his Gold Coast Suns outfit. But a tough kick on the angle. We're right behind him on the Filming Footy broadcast. Dykesman, 8 goals coming into this match. Season lead, he's added 1 today. Can he extend his lead in the Goodwood Saints goal kicking tally? The Winds just caught that offline. Goal umpire dances across and puts on display a bit of tap work, and the flag work is following. And a minor score. Sportal scoreboard, 9-12-66 as it gets a little bit darker here at Goody Oval. 4-8-32. Sponsors Day here at Goody Saints, and they're looking to come away with a comprehensive win. Bit late, pushing the back, but the umpire gives them the benefit of the doubt. Mark, as they come out of defence once again. It's been a trampoline. It's bounced straight back inside forward 50. Strong fist from Carter, but it finds his opposite number in O'Leary. Broadview's best, undoubtedly, this afternoon. Whitelock takes it, but didn't take possession. Smart. Thought he might have got held, but didn't. Chases after it. Pridham's first there if the ball comes loose. Umpires found a trip. And a free kick going the way of the Saints. Phil Herden rejoins us.
Yep, got scores around the grounds. We'll try and give them to you. As you can see, one of the next game's teams warming up in the background. It sits with Louis Whitelock, who'll get the kick away only as far as a Broadview opponent. Tiger's got a lot of work to do and the clock is starting to tick. And in theory, a 34-point margin is still there, time enough if good enough. Low scoring day, raining on a muddy field, makes it all the more challenging. As we have a quick stoppage, let me give you some scores early in the final quarter. Brighton and Old Ignatians. It is Brighton leading by 26 points. 8 goals, 16-64. Old Ignatians, 5 goals, 8-38. So not a good day for goal kicking, but Brighton leading Old Ignatians are there by 26. Teacher Galley and Port Prince Alfred. Well, the good news is Teacher Galley have kicked the goal. And they've only kicked the goal. They're 1-5-11. Prince Alfred 12-10-82. A 71-point lead to Princes. As we do have a shot on goal, Jack Fergus.
Ruck infringement going the way of Jackie Ferguson. This needs to go through if Broadview are any chance. Fades away.
The other two ones quickly are Prince Alfred trailing Port District 14-690. St. Peter's 6-7-43, a 47-point margin. And the close one is Glenunga and Sacred Heart. 8-point lead to the Rams. They're 6-7-43. Sacred Heart of 5-5-35. We'll keep an eye on that one as the quarter progresses, because I reckon the other three, and possibly this one, are done.
As expected, that game super close. So if you're keen to follow along, as we've got a yellow card, Von Items dug into his back pocket and he's sent Ben Manning from the field. Unsure of exactly what occurred, but we'll try to get a replay for you.
If you missed it, the exclusive from Jack earlier is that there was a late change in the umpiring ranks. I'm very impressed he brought his kit and brought the yellow card.
Remembers everything. Very important. He is, of course, the first-year umpires coach, Greg Von Einem. So doesn't pull the yellow card out without reason. So there must have been a good one for that as Ben Manning takes 10 in the sin bin. One of the initiatives of the Adelaide Footy League, which I do like, just sending players off for 10 minutes when really deserved, of course.
Yep.
Cool them down, bring them back on.
Calm down, boys.
I love it.
Without it being hugely consequential, given you can substitute the player and, you know, they miss 10 minutes of game time, something they might miss if they're on the bench anyway. Cooper O'Leary has it. Broadview need to get cracking. Finds a teammate. This is your Logan McKinnon-Collins. Little waits for it, picks it up, quick kick. This is actually some of the best movement I've seen from Broadview through the day. Now, they're at the wings. Okay, they've got it here. Back with Little. What do they do going forward? Towards the scoreboard, off hands, thumped out of bounds. There's your golden fist, Jack, and it will be a throw-in in front of a pretty loyal bunch of supporters there, including a lot of kids, which is good. I always love seeing kids at the footy.
Not an inch of that
not the great segue
lady.
there, but
Not an inch of that lady isn't covered up. She's having a nice warm afternoon. Just going to mention that last passage of play from Broadview. Good to get some uncontested play, but the pace of the play allowed Goody to get a man behind the ball, and conversely, the Saints have that quick first step, and Broadview unable to get their defence set as taken down Nicholas Burgess, but not before he got a handball. Spins to Dykesman. The goalkeeper on the line, Jackson Wilson.
That was great work by Burgess. Tackled,
Right
but still got the ball to a player who
time.
can, get the shot on goal. Not sure how much of a left foot Dykesman's got. No, the kick was right on, if not for the Broadview defender.
Love having the Sportal replay as well.
It certainly adds us to check that what we say makes sense. Sometimes you need a second look.
Broadview electing to concede ground to maintain possession.
Which is good when you're 34 points in front.
This is Ralph.
Not sure how it works 34 points behind. I reckon they've just got to take everything on. And to coin one of our sponsors, roll the dice.
The time they take is Ralph collects a couple of +6s if you're into your fantasy sports back there, a couple of mark kicks. But it allows Goodwood to get a couple of men behind the footy and have that spare as soon as Broadview have a chance to
There is an
enter
extra
inside
Broadview
50.
player inside 50, not marked at the moment.
Got to go quick here. McKinnon-Collins all by himself, screaming for it. Doesn't go in his direction. Instead goes to a contest yet again. We might have a mark. And about probably the 10th or 11th time they've gone inside 50. I can't recall a mark inside 50 for Broadview this afternoon. They've got one finally.
There hasn't. You don't recall it because there hasn't been one. Jacob Relata, though, clunks it. And, well, on a dry day, you'd say this is almost a gimme goal, but nothing easy today.
Right, a lot of 7 on the season.
And I reckon with that kick, goes any last vestige of hope for the Tigers, unfortunately. We're almost 10 minutes into the final quarter, and Relotto's done himself an injury as well. He's hobbling a bit. There'll be a few sore bodies out there. The good news is, with the new facilities, you would expect the showers at least to be hot.
Relotto with 2 goals last week, but not impacting this game much. Ralph himself kicked 4 last week in what must have been a positional switch, because Ralph usually patrolling that half-back flank and pushing up now to be around the ball. It's tough conditions out there, but the handball comes out once again. Tommy Lynch, nice to clear it, taken afterwards. Going the way of the Saints once again. Around the ball, Broadview have numbers. They certainly haven't given up on this one. And it's come the way of the Broadview play, going inside 50 over the head. How many times have we seen that kick just not go to the advantage of their teammate?
Gone over, it's gone short, it's gone through hands, and once it's been marked. And when you marked it, the kick missed. So
had a couple of chances this quarter to not so much easy chances, but shots in goal which would have closed the margin to 3 or 4 goals, but just hasn't been Broadview's day.
So the tap down. Goodwood trying to get a clearing kick. There's just a massive bodies, and I'm just looking around and see a lot of black and gold. It would be tough in the clinches.
Broadview
to work out who's who in the zoo this afternoon.
Broadview appealing for insufficient intent. I don't think they're playing the right league.
They're in the wrong competition for that, let me tell you.
Goodness. Boundary umpire, and all the umpires have done well today in 4th quarter, and that boundary throw-in is strong as always, and electing not to meet it. Fergus taking the ruck duties, letting the Goodwood player do his thing, moving down. The fists have come in every couple of minutes this afternoon. As a Goodie player who's getting to his feet, might be Cornish, slow to get up, but jogging back to resume his defensive duties, being good today.
Fairley will have it on the last disposal rule. Why this isn't part of AFL football, I've got no idea. It's been trialled, it works. Is it just the source that's the problem, I suspect?
Strong mark, Cleland. He started the game like a house on fire, gone quiet, but can handle a wet footy.
Booming kick. Inside forward 50. Socket off the ground. That's the thing for Dykesman. Race for pace. Who can pick it up? Great tackle. Ends the threat momentarily. Another tackle. And you just got to be careful about how you release players these days. Have they not been watching the AFL news?
Umpires are really letting them play, aren't they?
They are. And
tackles
and you do that as a rule on a
back
wet
up.
day.
You do. Little bit goes out the window, doesn't it?
It does. Just not sure the dangerous stuff is the thing you want to be letting go, but you're more an umpiring guru than I am on that, Jack. Meanwhile, it's in this pocket, and just looking at the time clock, 12 and a half minutes. Just to let you know, with your prizes, to have some preliminary ones that you can maybe pencil out, but if nothing miraculous happens, you've got something to think about. Here's Pridham. He might be in the mix.
Contention.
Heitman in the mix. Almost the mark. Under 8s, they'd pay that, but it ain't under 8s, I guess. Broadview with the kick out to space. This is my man in the colour coordinated boots, Alex Day. Picks it up nicely. Kicks towards our Sportal scoreboard. Nice mark in front of our sponsors. Thank you very much. Callum Flanagan.
See the Goodie supporters. Flanagan. It's like he just picked out Louis Whitelock, and Saints had about 4 or 5
I would love
men
to know
spare.
how many uncontested marks Goodwood have taken in defensive 50 today. Like, not the ones here now where they're just kicking it around, off a Broadview boot.
Intercept marking game has been strong. I
don't
dare our
even-
stats guys to calculate that.
I get, to me, the term intercept is you make an effort, you make the space, you take it away. It was going to a player, you stepped in the way. These ones are going down their throat.
Target practice at training for Broadview during the week. The one thing is they've had the opportunities. And you see the Broadview bench there just out of answers. The only one standing up is their coach. But they've had the opportunities. They've had the inside 50s, and they haven't taken them, unfortunately. And Goodie have taken them all. And they are poised to rise from 8th position after a really terrible start, it must be said, to this 2023 season. They've got a couple of matches coming up which are winnable encounters.
Reverse.
I might have just back it up, Jack. Beep, beep, beep.
Well, here's the thing. Tonight, we're at the halfway mark of the season, so you're going to get everybody again once. Last 5 weeks, run home, okay, maybe. And look, Goodwood Saints will, if they win this, which I think they're going to turn at 3-6. They're going to turn a game and a tiny bit of percentage out of the 5. They're going to still really rue that loss to St. Peter's. But what it does is, to me, this league was divided into 3. Your top 4 teams, Princes, Glenunga, Sacred Heart, Port District. Nothing I've seen has changed that. Then your middle 3 for 1 spot, Teacher Gully, Brighton and Broadview. And your bottom 3, avoiding relegation, Goodwood Saints, St. Peter's and Old Ignatius. It looks like Saints win here, St. Peter's and Old Ignatius go down. Suddenly Goodwood's got a 2-game gap. They've sort of moved into that possible finalist group, not the possible relegation group. And if you're Spock or Old Ignatians, and you're 2 games back at the halfway point of the season, and let's face it, Old Ignatians really are winless, could be a really struggle streak for the second half of that season.
And that's why this was picked out as our match of the week, because both these teams, Broadview being 4 points clear of Goodwood coming into this, had a real chance to put a real gap on that bottom 3. Yep. But Goodwood coming here, home match, a really impressive first quarter, and they've held that margin, and they've made the right decisions. They move themselves into that next tier, and, well, Shock away, but Prince Alfred at home. They're finding some form, Goodwood, just at the right point as we turn for home in the second half. And after that, Brighton and Tea Tree Gully, those 2 games could really shape the seasons of both Goodwood, Brighton and Tea Tree Gully.
Those 4 teams playing each other will probably... I can't see them beating the top 4 teams unless it's a major upset, and I can't see them losing to Spock or Old Ignatians, even though Spock, it'd be Goodwood. It's what they're going to do when they play each other. Here's a chance for the Tigers to pick up. Fergus does very well to clear some space, centre the ball, and once again, another defensive mark.
Is that
off a Broadview boot?
Was that a sport or replay, Phil? It's been happening all day.
I was about to
say,
it's hard to tell what's live and what is a sport or replay with those Broadview turnovers inside their forward 50 today. It's been, and look, I'm here in warm conditions, a football player of no note. They're out there doing it tough. I get that. That's just what I'm seeing.
Pridham just doing a bit of stat padding in the past 5 minutes, but the fact that he was in and under and really that first option for Goody in the first few quarters. We see Serene come away with it. Quiet game from him, but he's got an open player on the near wing and Whitelock in acres of space. Cho Anyang just giving up the chase. He's put the cue on the rack this afternoon, as have a few Broadview players. Inside 50 and over the footy once again. Heitman down there and Dykesman and around the footy there. Favretto just calling his troops in, saying that, boys, this match is not over yet. We can add some percentage here with a couple of goals. Make this a real comprehensive victory. Here's Lynch.
Yeah, and Goodwood suffered a big percentage dent when they got done 100-20. Meanwhile, Glenunga have just kicked a goal. They had a 3-point lead. It's now 9. And a bit of a party behind the goal with that. That's at the 17-minute mark. So still a chance for Sacred Heart there. Winner of that will be second along with Port District tonight behind Prince Alfred. Here, 18 minutes gone. Just checking, Jack, you're all set for your on-ground debut.
I'll be heading down shortly, and we'll leave you in the capable hands of Phil Herden for the conclusion of this to, at the end of this match, award some players. Oh, real chance for an uncontested mark, but ball beats both. Through for another behinds.
One Shane Warne bounce off of a miraculous goal. I haven't seen anything miraculous. We've seen a few long-distance soccers and Favretto's. Yeah, I mean, Good have had a couple of good ones. I mean, normally you kick a goal from centre, and that would be goal of the day. But that one that we had from Connor Fairley in the pocket, where he faked out and then delivered in a low-scoring affair, that was something special.
And at the time that goal went through as well, it was still an attainable margin.
Yep.
And the fact that he put the dancing shoes on, Dancing with the Stars started last week. If there was a local footy version of that, he put the Dirty Dancing moves on, didn't he? Just stepped around him like he wasn't there.
Don't give our boss, John Douglas, any ideas. Adelaide Footy League
Are
dancing
you
with the
volunteering
stars.
for
Oh,
Dancing
no.
with the Stars?
No. I want viewers
Lynch
tuning
again.
in, not turning off. Thank you.
Back to the footy with Lynch. A couple of touches in the past couple of moments, patrolling the wing and half-back regions. And going down hard there, but rolling over and getting right back up. Joshy Goodwin, one of the few players to not have his number covered in mud.
Yeah, if I were looking at myself and I don't have mud on me at the moment, I'd be rolling around in it. I want to come off showing off. I've been in the thick of it.
Showing the coach that you're worthy of another
That's
match
it.
next week if you're on the fringes, that's for sure.
Time on, 15 seconds away. Is the sting gone out of this game? Look, not for the players involved, obviously. But the winner, I think, was decided a fair while ago. Probably Broadview, when they got back to within 14 points in the third quarter, was like, ooh, hello, that could be close. Goodwood came and scored 2 goals quickly, and that was a collision. And that hasn't ended too well for Jack Luders, who's only just made his way back in the side. Thankfully, he is up. Meanwhile, Broadview will hand pass it off. Nick Ferguson towards the 1-on-1 contest. Again, goodie mark off a Broadview boot inside defensive 50. At least that one, Jack, had the potential of being semi-contested.
Semi-contested, but in the end uncontested, wasn't it, for Goody Saints as they march out of defence once again. I've mentioned it in the third quarter. They're well and truly marching towards a victory and marching their way up the ladder this afternoon. Phil, I'm going to depart and head down from our lovely heated cauldron, I guess I could call it, a lovely boardroom here at Goodwood Saints.
Now, that dartfish beanie is not... Hang on. It's okay, we've got 2.
I know what in the pack,
I was just
don't
checking
worry.
you weren't taking
Don't
the
worry.
prize.
If you've looked at us live on camera, you'll be able to see that my head is definitely one that gets a little bit chilly in these conditions. So I'm going to whack on the sponsor's product, the Dartfish Beanie. There it is. Going to put it on this lovely melon of mine, which is not looking very good on camera, but hello there. And take myself down on this chilly afternoon. I hope the rain holds off for our awards. Going to award Best On Ground Player of the Day and Best Team Player of the Day.
Thanks to New Balance, Dartfish, Nearmouth Mouthguards, and the Moseley Bar and Kitchen. We thank them for their support.
I'll leave you in the capable hands of Phil
I'll be back for you to come up and we'll wrap up together. But, Jack, you've done a fantastic job joining us today. Of course, people thinking, gee, Tommy Javor's voice has changed this afternoon. Well, he's on assignment. He's a busy man, DJ. Finger in many, many pies.
And I will see you on ground at the conclusion of this one.
It's going to be a throw-up on the throw-in, on the centre wing on the outer side, as we seem to have lost up. There we go. Much brighter on the TV. Broadview have some numbers. Can they manufacture a clearance? Burgess tries his best. It comes off hand. Kick around the body has missed absolutely everything. There's a Broadview player down, as you can see there. Yeah, it's been that kind of day. I think that's McKinnon Collins. I'll stand corrected. No score. That was out on the full. Although, hang on. Well, the guy with the ball is kicking it out of the goal square. It was out on the full. He should be the other side of the behind post. So maybe it was. Okay, just having a discussion here. Was that out of bounds on the full or a point? We're sitting next to John Noonan, who's helping with the Sportal scoreboard. Given the Broadview players there in the goal square, that would indicate it's a behind. Not that it will make a lot of difference, but you still want to get it right. So that's Cooper O'Leary coming off, and Matt Burgess said, it's all right, mate. There's next week. A buddy bet between Jack and I. Looks like Jack's got a win on debut. He picked... No, actually, I think I did. I think he tipped Goodwood. I think I tipped... No, he did tip Goodwood. That's right. He'll get the buddy bet win. Remember to gamble responsibly. From the clearance, Pridham around to Heitman. And it's a Goodwood mark. It's icing time on this football cake. It's going to be Nick Burgess, who had a couple of big moments in the second quarter. Having a quick look at Glenunga as he lines up. 22 minutes gone. Still Glenunga by 9 points. All the other games pretty one-sided. As is this. As Burgess delivers. Not the sealer. That was a while ago. but he's delivered his second goal. 3 multiple goal scorers for Goodwood today. They are Nick Burgess, Jade Cleland, who kicked 2 goals in, I kid you not, the first 2.5 minutes of the contest, and Connor Fairley, whose 2 goals included might just be the player of the day. We'll see. Ryan Dykesman has 1, Mason Ellis has 1, Angus Rana has 1, and Nick Favretto has 1. That was from the middle of Goodwood Oval, believe it or not. Meanwhile, for Broadview, 2 goals to Nick Ferguson, singles to Cooper O'Leary, Lachlan McKenzie. And that's there for 10-15 to 4-10, a 41-point lead to the home team, who will record their 3rd victory of 2023. This is Cooper O'Leary, spills off hands, and it's going to be the easiest goal that Broadview have kicked all day to Jack Fergus. Just the ricochet off the pack contest. He was by himself, open goal beckoned, and Fergus kicks his first, Broadview's 5th. Margin back to 35 points. 25 minutes gone. Games next week, Broadview, well, in round 1, they caused the upset. Beat the defending premiers. Port District, they travel to Largs Reserve next week. For Goodwood Saints, they're on the road as well. They travel to the middle school of Sacred Heart to play Sacred Heart Old Collegians. That at the moment, look, they may be coming off a narrow loss to Glenunga, although that game is by no means over. They are at the 24-minute mark, and it's, well, it might be over because Glenunga have just kicked a goal and lead by 15 points at the 24.5-minute mark. Back here at Goodwood, Little with the hand pass, intercepted by Ryan Gray, and Goodwood are away. Inside 50, Golden Fist back towards the goals. Good pressure to get the hand pass out into space. Should be able to play with the boundary line. Kick is actually well marked in the end. That's Ben Manning who's taken it. He plays on. Well, it's a group of Goodwood players swirling, including Heitman. In the end, it's going to be umpire's ball. Alex Day, the Broadview player in that stoppage. Some quick hands, ends up again with Day along the edge of the centre square. Touchy for Broadview maybe, but there's a tackle. Jack Luders, who was looking pretty groggy about 5 minutes ago, ends the day with a great tackle, and it's been a great day for Goodwood. Our Sportal scoreboard has the Saints 10-15-75, 30-point victors over Broadview 5-10-40. Earlier today, it was Goodwood by 66 points in the C grade, 13-11-89 to 3-5-23. Goodwood by 21 points in the B grade, 9-12-66 to 7-3-45. And the A's have made it a triple treat here at Goodwood Oval, winning by 35 points. Goal scorers, I did mention them earlier, just let me mention them again. For the Goodwood Saints, no one kicked more than 2 today, but Jade Cleland, Nick Burgess, Connor Fairley kicked 2. Singles to Mason Ellis, Angus Rana, Nick Favretto. For Broadview, 2 goals to Nick Ferguson. Singles to Lachlan McKenzie, Alex Day and Jack Fergus just in the last minutes. Goal umpires say that the Sportal scoreboard is correct, Jack Lennon. You've done a wonderful job this afternoon keeping track of that. Thumbs up from Jack. As we do see the inclusively players, I think it's Christie's Beach and Goodwood coming out to enjoy their game of footy. And that's what it's all about. Strengthening communities through footy. We're not too far away. I reckon Jack's just about ready to go. Once he works out, he's got to come a little bit further forward. He's done very well in routing him up. He's given out the prizes already. Now he's just got to wheel him over. Other results, we'll give you Glenunga and Sacred Heart in a sec. But it was Brighton leading by 26 points over Old Ignatians three-quarter time. Prince Alfred 71 points over Tea Tree Gully. Port District 47 points. And last time I checked, with a couple of minutes to go, was Glenunga by 15. I'll try and get some finals for you as we go down to Jackmore.
And we're here at ground level with our 3 award winners. First up, Best on Ground, New Balance voucher and Dartfish beanie. Charlie Pridham. Charlie, a great match in tough conditions.
Yeah, first half conditions were alright, and then once it came out in the second half, the rain started to fall, so the game changed a bit. But I thought the boys adapted really well, and yeah, came away with the win, which is nice. So yeah, kick-start our second half of the year and try and make it late push for finals.
Yeah, really important to win, and we'll chat to the captain here, the best team player of the day, Nick Favretto. Not captain on the day, but of course you lead this club in many facets. A good win and a solid performance and one to build on.
Yeah, big time. We really needed that one as a team. Obviously had a bit of a rough patch the last few games, but get that winning feeling back, I think we're on the right track.
Indeed, and finally the best player of the day, thanks to Neomorph Mouthguard. I forgot to mention, of course, Nick wins the $100 voucher thanks to the Moseley Bar and Kitchen. But player of the day, Connor Fairley for a goal from the boundary in inside forward 50 in the early stages of that match. Bit of dirty dancing, bit of good footwork. Great play, and how'd you rate your game as well?
Yeah, it was a bit different being forward this week, so it was nice. Changed with Ollie Johnson on the ball, which is always helpful, but yeah, it was nice being forward.
If you win an award for being forward, I'm sure they'll keep you there. So once again, best on ground, Charlie Pridham, player of the day for that goal in the second quarter for Connor Fairley, and best team player Nick Favretto, all thanks to New Balance, Dartfish, Neomorph and the Moseley Bar and Kitchen. Phil Hurden, it's back to you.
For a first time, you did that exceptionally well, as you have all through the day. Just looking around the grounds at the moment, always fun when you're doing this bit live. We do have a final from Webb Oval, where Glenunga 8-9-57 have beaten Sacred Heart 6-6-42. So that is a 15-point win to Glenunga. That will put them in second spot. Just checking out, they're still going at St. Peter's, but I can tell you, actually, no, they're not going at St. Peter's. Give me a sec. Final score at St. Peter's. St. Peter's going down 67-99. That's a 38-point win to Port District, who also stay tied for second. I can tell you, Brighton by 27, Port District by 35, Glenunga by 15. That's one match left. It was all over almost at quarter time, certainly at half time. It was Prince Alfred with a 71-point lead. Can tell you that it ended up a 94-point win to Prince Alfred, 7-13. 115 to 2719. So just rounding out those results as Jack is working hard, has made his way back up to the booth. Brighton and Old Ignatius, St. Peter's and Port District still going, but Brighton will win, Port District will win. Prince Alfred won by 94 points, Glenunga won by 15. And here, of course, it was Goodwood by 35. What does that do for the ladder? Can't quite give you the exact percentages without taking a breath, but I can tell you that Prince Alfred should be on top, 8-1-16. Glenunga, Port District, second and third at 7 and my apologies. It's going to be Sacred Heart, Glenunga, Port District in a three-way tie for second at 7 and 2. Teacher Gully and Broadview, a two-way tie. No, Brighton are one, so it's a three-way tie for fifth. Gee, there's ties everywhere. Teacher Gully, Broadview and Brighton at 4 and 5. At Goodwood Saints, a game back at 3 and 6. And then it really separates. 2 games back to the 2 relegation teams. At the moment, St. Peter's and Old Ignatius both at 1 and 8. So halfway point of the season, can you believe it, Jack?
It's gone quickly, hasn't it? And as the players, especially Nick Favretto, discussed with me at ground level, that was a game they focused on and really important game to win. They came out, got the job done, but obviously it's not finished because they still sit in the position they did when they started. Gaps closed, but for them, a real focus on the second half of the year.
Yeah, look, a game in percentage back. And with 9 games to go, that is doable. Especially if you consider one of those 2 teams, Teachy Gully, is really struggling at the moment. But not that they've lost games, which they have, been the scores they've put up. I don't think they've scored 5 goals in a game for a little while. And then there's Brighton. Well, Brighton are, and I say this in a mathematical sense, not a derogatory sense, Brighton are an average team. So they'll win some, they'll lose some. Goodwood this year are probably also an average team. Their record with a couple of close losses probably should be a little better than it is. And I reckon it might come down to Brighton and Goodwood for that last spot. I'm worried about Tea Tree Gully. They look to be on a slide. I'm not sure how they arrest.
All the teams you mentioned in that middle bracket are Jekyll and Hyde sides. You come to the footy thinking you know what you're going to get, and sometimes they don't really rock up. We saw the first quarter Broadview just didn't get out of the blocks, and Goody put the margin on, and that was held most of the day. And as Nick Favretto did discuss, this game was very important, not only for Goodwood but for Broadview, because Goodwood go into the next 2 weeks against Sacred Heart and Prince Alfred. So a real tough fortnight. But equally, Broadview have Port District, Sacred Heart and Prince Alfred in their next 3. So this game was a crucial one. They could go on a bit of a losing slide, unfortunately.
The games next week, this is a matter of interest. Round 10, teams start to play each other again. Port District host Broadview. Sacred Heart at the middle school host Goodwood Saints. Brighton host Glenunga. Prince Alfred host St Peter's. That's going to be at Park 9. And our match of the day will be at Karen Rolton Oval, Old Nations and Tea Tree Gully. 2 of the biggest strugglers in the comp, even though in theory it's 5th versus 10th. A week where at the moment the top 5 play the bottom 5. Could be a week of separation. Of course, you can keep up to date with all this. The Adelaide Footy League Facebook page. Tomorrow, the weekend in women's wraps. All the A-grade men's results, ladders, big games coming up. Women's the same across all the women's games. That'll be about this time tomorrow. Between the Posts, Wednesday night. You've been on Between the Posts as a regular, Jack. How you enjoying that this year?
A couple of times. Yeah, well, I haven't actually made it on as a regular yet. I've done a few segments due to different commitments and restrictions. But every week I tune in and just watch different parts of the show, and the whole show in general is just a good wrap of, if you're interested in any level, any club, it's all covered.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Neal and the crew do a great job. Pretty much time to wrap it up here. Jack, any final thoughts?
Well, we came here, of course, these 2 sides being in that middle bracket, really not knowing what to expect. It was match of the week as it was a 4-pointer. The loser of this faces a tough fortnight of matches ahead, and Broadview go into that. There's more question marks than there were prior. A tough away trip. Goodwood play their home ground well, but haven't this year. So the Saints marching into the next few weeks with some confidence. As you said, top half first, bottom half next week. On paper, it should all go one way, but a real chance for one of those bottom half teams to create an upset, and that will move them clear of the kind of the muck in that middle bit of the Division 1 ladder. So, would be a tough task for any of those bottom 5 teams, but one that Goodwood are in some form now, even Brighton are in some form now. So we'll wait with bated breath and we'll watch all the games next week on Filming Footy.
Jack, it's been wonderful to have you. Little would you have known when you texted me way back last year that we'd be doing a game together a few short months later. How it all comes together. Thanks also to our producer Hugo, our camera staff James and Liam, of course, boss John Douglas, all the Filming Footy family. Thanks to John Noonan for coming on as our special guest at half-time. And of course, thanks to Sportal for their wonderful support. Hope you enjoyed their scoreboards and their app today. Other sponsors including the Banner Crew, 9 News, Buddy Bet, Roller Dice Racing, MVP votes. We've got to sit down and work out shortly. You'll find those on Between the Posts. Archie Sandals, Programs to Fit, Dartfish, Sports Interactive, and the Moseley Bar and Kitchen. So today at Goodwood Oval, in the C's, Goodwood by 66 points. The B's, Goodwood by 21 points. And the A's, they made it a triple, Goodwood by 35 points. 10-15, 75, the Broadview 5-10-40. I'm Will Hurden saying thanks for watching today. We'll be back at Karen Rolton Oval next week for Old Ignatians and Tea Tree Gully. Someone's got to win. You've been watching the Adelaide Footy League. Thanks to Filming Footy.